everybody, it's episode 326 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It's Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. I'm Chris. With me is Drootin.
Hello.
Walnut.
Hi.
How you guys doing today?
I'm alright.
You know, I just got done playing some Astro's Playland. That game is amazing.
It's Astro's Playroom, isn't it?
Whatever.
Yes.
Whatever. Either
Man,
way.
Get the name right.
This is the first time I played it, okay?
Well, you fucked up. Apparently, it's a very good game.
You just have it called Astrobot, okay?
I mean, yeah,
He doesn't have the game. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't own a PlayStation 5. I can't fucking get one.
Too bad.
No, it really is frustrating.
Yeah, I get it. I definitely do get it.
It's frustrating the way that it's being handled more than anything.
Yeah. Like, I keep hearing that, like, there's gonna be restocks, more and more restocks, but because, like, the way it's being announced and how far in advance as well, scalpers are gonna be on top of that shit immediately.
Yeah, like, Sony Direct is the only one that's doing it, like, as reasonable as you really can in this sort of situation.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have a PSN account active and signed into. It's only one per household, and they queue it. So, like, if their site gets hit too much, it immediately starts a queue for you to go in and try and do the purchase.
Yeah.
It puts you into a queue to do anything on the website.
No, that's what I mean. Like, when the website gets hit enough, it immediately starts a queue. So, that's something. That's better than what every other website is doing. Where it's, like, every time Walmart has had their shit go up, it's just, the website and the app just shit the bed. And yeah, I'm sure that it's 90% bots that are just hammering the site until they get as many or as many ordered as possible.
Yeah, my sister on Thursday last week, I think she had it in her cart at Walmart, and it crashed, and she wasn't able to buy it.
So I still have it in my cart at Walmart.
Really?
I don't shop at Walmart online, so my cart, like, items will stay in your cart as long as you don't try to check out. So
okay.
I got to it in my cart when it showed that it was sold out, so I just stopped there. As long as I don't click check out, it stays there until I try to check out with it. So they're actually, tomorrow afternoon, I think it's 3 o'clock, their website says, they're supposed to have more on sale.
Yep.
So I am going to, at 3 o'clock, start refreshing the page, and as soon as it shows not out of stock, I'm going to click check out and see if I can snag it real quick.
Nice. Good plan.
I don't expect to, but, you know, it's something.
I mean, I would just go to your cart and at 3 o'clock just try to hit checkout.
They don't go active at exactly 3. That's the problem. Like, their website is such a shit show that sometimes it's before 3, sometimes it's after 3. So I'm going to, I can refresh my cart and it doesn't affect what's in there. So I'm just going to refresh it starting at like 5 of until the website starts to get hammered and then try and go through checkout.
Yeah. Makes sense. The BS is on Thursday, as I was getting my system in, I'm on Facebook, like, waiting for it to show up at FedEx, and I already see people posting theirs on Facebook Marketplace. $8,000-$9,000. Like, fuck you.
Oh yeah,
guys.
that's all over the place.
Seriously.
I've seen pictures that people have found on, like, eBay of sellers with stacks of them.
Yeah.
Like, stacks of consoles of both variety, and it's like $800 for a digital, $1,200 for a disc. It's like, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
Like, they're the people that I hope that they actually don't manage to sell them and are then just fucked.
Oh yeah. Anytime I see them online and they're overpriced, they're priced higher than what their market value is, I comment, do not buy this, do not buy it, wait for it, it'll be in stock, you might have to wait some time, but it'll be in stock. Do not buy it for this price.
There is nothing on either console to warrant spending that kind of money.
No, not at all. It's not like you can completely mod and alternate the system to be a straight up PC. Like, it is just what it is. Like,
and the only exclusive titles are Astrobot and Demon Soul.
Yeah.
Everything else is on PS4 or Xbox.
Yeah.
So it's like, why?
Exactly.
Why spend more than double the cost?
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that is cross-platform or cross-generational, I mean, like, comes with a potential free upgrade version.
At least the
PS4,
first-party stuff, definitely.
Yeah, like, I believe if you get Miles for the PlayStation 4, you get a free upgrade version for the PS5 as well, if you were to get a PS5. Like,
Apparently, the PlayStation site has a queue right now.
Interesting.
And it does.
You should open up on that. You know what? All three of us should open up onto it, try to get you a PlayStation 5.
If it's got a queue, it's already too late.
Also, I don't know that either of us can order ones.
It says one per household. If we get it shipped to Cobb's house, all he has to do is pay us.
But isn't it also one per PSN account?
That I don't know.
I have no idea.
But yeah, if there is a queue, it means it's already too late.
Yeah. So anyway, the PS5 came out.
Yeah, so just so you know, like the site right now, the wait time is more than an hour, and it was updated 4 minutes ago. And the little note says PS5 consoles are limited and not guaranteed, even if you are in the queue.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's probably 10 maybe people will get them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, PS5 released last Thursday, the day after we recorded last week.
Yeah.
You guys both got one. Rich, you got the disc version. Drew, you got the digital version.
Correct.
Yes.
What do you guys think so far?
It's definitely faster than the PS4.
Oh, yes.
Stuff loads way quicker. That controller is real fucking awesome.
How big is it?
It's gigantic.
Yeah, it is. I feel like if I were to stand it up next to my tower, my PC, it's at least a third of the size of my tower, which is
I'm going to tell you it's
big.
Like third of the size in total, or
in total. Like, so
okay.
It's like it takes it's probably
probably the same height or ever so slightly shorter, but not quite as.
It's lengthwise and widthwise. Height-wise, yeah. If it's standing up top to bottom, it's as tall as the tower. It looks like. It's not as long and it's not as wide.
Yeah.
Now, although both of you have it sideways, horizontal.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have anywhere where to have put it vertical.
Same here. My entertainment center is just big enough for it horizontal.
Now, are you both confident that you have plenty of ventilation and everything?
Oh, I do, for sure.
Yeah.
I have a solid few inches on either side and behind it.
Nice.
I have a few inches on each side, and behind it, it's pretty wide open, at least a foot from it to the wall. And if I really felt like I needed more space, I could probably take out the top shelf of my entertainment center. Because it's like, it's two glass standees, or two glass shelves, that I can just take one of them out if I thought I needed more space.
Yeah, I mean, I did that with mine, for the Xbox. I actually, it had like the shitty cardboard, like, backing.
Yeah.
That I took off the week before the Xbox and PS5 came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I just moved the one shelf up one rung just to give, like, extra room.
Yeah. Let me tell you, that stand is dumb.
Did you have trouble getting it on?
No, it's easy to get on, but it doesn't clip. It just slides on. So if you jostle your PlayStation even a little bit, it starts to come off.
I thought it was supposed to click in.
It doesn't click. As far as I know, it doesn't click in. Where I have it positioned, it doesn't click in.
Are you sure you have it positioned right?
It didn't click for me either.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just it's like two hooks that are like, they're tight enough to where, like, when you slide it on, it holds. Like, if you were to hold it sideways, it wouldn't slide off. But if you pull it or whatever, you're gonna pull it off the stand.
Well, because I know the console has, like, the two symbols for where you're supposed to hook it onto, right?
I did not take any note to that, so I might have it hooked on at the wrong spot.
Yeah,
so on the back of the console is a series of the face button, square, circle, triangle, and X.
Okay.
It's supposed to go into two squares at the ends of the pattern.
Okay. Makes sense.
So if you just put it on there randomly, that's extra the case. But, like Richie was saying, if you put it down on a surface and then just try to adjust it, you're going to pull it out of the stand, probably.
So basically you want to adjust by the stand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you want to pick the whole thing up to adjust it. Because, like, I accidentally did that when I put it onto my shelf at first. It was a little sideways, so I went to turn it, and I felt it, like, unhook from the stand. So I had to pick it up, kind of reach my hand behind it and push it back in, and then set it back down.
Yeah, like, right now I need to plug in my USB-C cord so that I could charge my headset or my controller if it dies while I'm playing. I want to plug them into the back because I use the front for the dongle for the headset. I'm just delaying doing that because I know the stand is going to be a pain in the butt.
You know, it's crazy to me that the headset that is sold by Sony for the PS5 requires a fucking dongle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm happy it requires a dongle because, like, I can use the headset for when I'm playing D&D or for work calls. Like, I can use it for more than just the PlayStation.
No, don't get me wrong. Having the dongle is fine. I've got a Bluetooth headset for work that is Bluetooth, but also has a dongle in case, like, I want to use it on a computer that doesn't have Bluetooth built into it.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, it doesn't just have a native way to connect to the PS5 that it was made to work on is just crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that.
I had to send mine back, the headset.
Oh, wow, what was wrong with it?
The left side just did not work.
Wow. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Was it easy enough to send back to them?
And it was mainly my fault for not having properly read the links at the bottom of the confirmation email from the orders, and noticing that the PlayStation Direct website has a whole separate support system than the PlayStation.com.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, like, if you order something from PlayStation Direct, they have a separate chat and phone number you can call to get a hold of that department, basically.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
They'll handle the return. But I didn't realize that until, like, the third different person I got on chat from just the standard PlayStation website finally asked me if I ordered it from them, and then was like, oh, go to their...
That also seems accurate.
Yeah.
That it would take multiple people for somebody to catch on what was going on.
Like, one of the people last week that I talked to said that they bumped it up to the back channel or whatever, and someone would call me. Nobody ever called me. So, yeah.
Gotta love support.
Yep.
So how's the DualSense, guys?
Well, before we get to the DualSense, one more thing on the system itself, because I have the disc one. I did not know the disc tray was on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's weird as fuck.
Yeah, because it's not, so it is. It's weird to think about it, because in your head, it's like, oh no, all of the components should be underneath the disc, but, like, really, the laser just has to be in that little crevice on the bottom, and then it's just a cable that's plugged into the board.
Yeah, So, like, when I was setting it up, like, I flipped it around 4 times, because I'm like, no, the disc tray's on top. No, but the PS is on the other side. No, but the disc tray's on top.
Boy, it's almost like you didn't see a single fucking image they put out where all of them had it on the bottom.
No, I didn't. I didn't look at any of that.
But, like, at the same time, when I heard I listened to a podcast where they mentioned that, and then I looked at one of the images of it vertical, and I'm just like, oh yeah, no, like, that would be super weird. Like, I would instinctively want to put it in with the data side of the disc facing the bulk of the console, not the empty bottom, basically.
Like, luckily, I was able to just download Monster Hunter World, so I don't need the disc. So I haven't actually put a single disc into my system yet.
Way to waste your money on the disc system, then.
Yeah, honestly, the dumb thing is, the main reason I wanted the disc system was to continue playing Monster Hunter. Because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play Monster Hunter World with the PlayStation Classics. But I also like having movies and things like that, and I've got things on my Amazon wish list for Christmas and stuff that are disc-based, so I don't mind
until everyone buys you digital copies.
Amazon doesn't sell digital copies.
Oh, that's right, Sony doesn't let them. Forgot about that. They sell them for Switch, and I want to say Xbox. I think Sony's the only one that doesn't let them do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how about that DualSense?
It's really cool.
It's comfortable. It's not, like, you would think that it's maybe a little weird and awkward to hold, but no, it's comfortable. My hands fit right onto it.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger feeling than the DualShock 4.
I hear the weight feels a little more comparable to, like, the Xbox controller. Like, it's just got a little more heft to it, but, like, not heavy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, it does. It's a little bit more hefty. I feel like they're just going way too overboard with the vibration. Like,
you can turn that off.
I forget to, for the most. Like, I hate vibration. I think it's, like, silly to have, unless it's a game that, like, what was that? 1-2 Switch or something like that. One of those, like, party type games. But, like, just in general, I'm like, I don't need this vibration all the time. And some games, it's just constantly vibrating. Like, I think Avengers, it was constantly vibrating at one.
That's on, like, the devs for that.
Yeah.
But, cause, Astrobot is, like, that's supposed to use it all really well. Like, that game was basically built to show off the controller.
Yeah, yeah. And, like, as you jump into Astrobot, it shows you all the features of the controller, and the first thing is it shows you the vibration, and it builds up.
And is Astrobot the one where it has the trigger screen where, like, it has you pulling the triggers to basically, like, blast off the controller?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that, and that just looks neat.
It was really cool.
It's really cool feeling the trigger go from, like, just feeling like every other trigger has on a controller for the last few generations to having this pressure.
Yeah.
And, like, I have a second controller, and my brother was over when I got it, and I loaded that up and got to that screen, and I'm like, wow, alright, this is weird. And he had the other controller in his hand, just kind of feeling it, messing around with it. I'm like, push the trigger on that controller. He's like, okay. And then I handed him the controller that was running the game, and I was like, alright, now push the triggers. And he was like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Yeah. It was like that for me playing Bugsnax, because like you run around with like a camera, and anytime you use any of the traps and things like that in Bugsnax, there's like a click that happens because you're clicking the camera lens, or you're clicking a button, and like I did it a few times. I was like, is my controller broken? What the hell is going on? Because it would click. It wasn't like feedback. It was just clicking in, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then I took away the camera and started pressing. I'm like, now it's working fine. I don't understand it. It took me like an hour of playing to realize, oh, it's supposed to do.
Good job. Oh, and going back to the Rumble real quick, so especially in Astrobot, like, I don't feel like I've noticed Rumble much in Bugsnax.
Yeah.
But in Astrobot, like, it does a real good job of kind of giving you a different feel when he's running across the different surfaces and stuff. And I, for one, feel like it kind of blended into just playing real quickly. Like, I don't feel like it's overwhelming. After the first little bit, it's just like, oh, that's just how this feels.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing a lot of like Avengers and Division 2 on there, so it's not really made for this controller. So maybe that's why like I feel it a little bit more.
Well,
Or,
I
like,
mean, the
feel like
Division doesn't make use of the new Rumble feature at all.
Neither does Avengers. They're both still the PS4 versions.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's
I
why
forgot the
like
Avengers Next Gen thing got pushed back.
So like there were a few times where I was playing Avengers and I'm just like, it's vibrating too much. I don't like this. So it could have been just a glitch in the game. It could have been just how they programmed it for the PS4 controller is now responding differently to this controller. Who knows?
You also have very weird feelings on controllers compared to basically every other person.
I don't find like vibration necessary.
But like you don't like vibration, but you also like the Joy-Con grip. So like, you know,
but
like you're backwards compared to the rest of the world.
Let's take. I've never said I like the Joy-Con grip. I just don't have a problem with it.
That's close enough to liking it.
There is a difference. Like I'm not gonna like if I had a choice between the Joy-Con grip and like a PlayStation controller, it's a PlayStation controller. But I don't have as much a problem with the Joy-Con grip that I did that like other people do, to where like I needed to buy a Pro controller right away. But I've already admitted I'm buying a Pro controller when Monster Hunter Rise comes out. So like I'm not going to say I like the grip. I just don't find it uncomfortable.
It's alright. I've come to the conclusion that your sense of touch is just a little broken. So
maybe, just maybe.
So the only question I have about the controller for you guys is I've seen this going around on the internet a little bit. Have you noticed yours getting like dirty and kind of like just gooky on the backs because of all those like tiny little crevices with the face buttons?
I actually spent about 10 minutes cleaning mine today.
I haven't looked, but I haven't particularly noticed.
I looked back. I looked at it for some reason. I grabbed it and looked at the back, and there was just like I don't know, maybe if it was like from eating and then not fully cleaning my hands off and then grabbing it and playing it or something. I don't know, but there was some gook on there. So I ended up spending like 5-10 minutes cleaning it off with like a damp paper towel.
Yeah, like I was talking, or I wasn't talking, I was looking at Facebook and I saw in a group somebody posted a picture of the backlift Dare controller that had a very noticeable brownish yellow tint to it, but only like on the grips. And the person's just like, I wash my hands regularly and don't eat while I'm playing, but just like the sweat and other stuff that's just on your hands, like adds up quick on the back of those things, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they are just a bunch of little crevices for everything to sort of like hole up in.
Yeah, well, it's the circle, cross.
Yeah, it's
triangle,
the
and square.
face buttons.
So it's the face buttons. Yeah.
How about the UI? How's the user interface treating you?
It's alright. Still kind of getting used to the switch over from the PS4. It's not that different, but also it's different enough where things are slightly out of place from where they used to be.
Yeah. I'm still getting used to not have to hold the PlayStation button in order to go to sleep or check my friends lists and things like that.
Same.
Now that I'm on the PS4, I like what they did with the friends lists, like the party feature.
On the PS5.
Now on the PS5, like I like what they did with the party feature because it works better, whereas it didn't quite work well on the PS4.
It's clear that was a design change made for the PS5 that just got slammed onto the PS4.
But like for the most part, like it doesn't take too much to get used to, but it does take a little bit of getting used to because you you don't hold the PS button to go into sleep mode, to go into your friends menu and things like that. You have to hold it to go into the shop and to check your other games. Like it is opposite day over here on the PS5.
Okay, yeah, so I forget what podcast I was listening to, but somebody mentioned that they'd been like just going to like settings and power to like sleep and turn their system off from like the main UI because they holding the button in wasn't giving them the option the way it did on the PS4.
Yeah, it is just the opposite. So where on the PS4, if you just tap the PlayStation button, it takes you to the main screen, but if you hold it, it brings up that sidebar. Mm-hmm. This, on the PS5, if you just tap the button, it brings up what used to be the sidebar across the bottom now, and that'll have get to your friends list, and then the power and all that.
Which honestly makes more sense,
but
is also counterintuitive to a thing we've all been doing for 5+ years. So I know that feature wasn't there when the PS4 launched.
Right.
But it was still, at least within like the first year or so of it launching.
Wasn't the PS button on the PS3 as well?
Yeah.
So it's still, we always would have to like hit the PlayStation button to turn it off and stuff too.
Well, I think on the PS3 it was just the like you could only turn it off. There was no and actually you may have had to go to settings on the PS3. It's been so long now. I think you had to hit the PS button to go to the menu and then go to the far right to power options, or far left I should say, and turn it off that way.
Yeah, I don't remember at all.
But that's kind of like how the Xbox is. Like, just tapping the Xbox button, even on the one end, the X, pops out that side menu where you can do all the things, and then holding it in is what gives you the options to, like, turn things on and off.
Yeah. I do like they have, it's called Switcher, and it's the first option when you press the PS button, and it gives you, like, your most recent games you went into, your most recent media things you went into. So, like, you can just pick those options there, and it loads from there instead of having to hold the PS button. So, like, for me, since I switch back and forth and play Avengers every day, I jump into Avengers, and then I jump into, like, during lunch, I'll play Avengers, and then after lunch, I'll play Demon's Souls. And instead of having, like, go into that whole menu and hold the PS button and then go, I just hit the button, go to the switcher, and it pops up.
Have either of you guys used any of, like, those activity things or the helpful stuff?
Yes. I did it a little bit in Astrobot because by the time I got to like the end of that game, I was like, damn, I have almost all the trophies. I might as well platinum this. So I did use it to figure out where some of the artifacts in some of the levels I was missing.
Okay.
It's pretty neat. It's like, cool, here's a little video. It shows you exactly where it is.
I guess that's good for like quick things. Like if you're just trying, like you said, like you just had a couple of trophies left or whatever.
Yeah.
As opposed to like going on YouTube and looking for like a more detailed walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't used.
What was the other thing that was on there that I saw? Oh, have you guys noticed like the advertising for you in like that little quick menu thing?
In the quick menu?
It looked like the quick menu, the one that shows like the activity stuff squares at the bottom.
I can't say that I've known any advertising.
Yeah,
so I watched the Giant Bomb PS5 like launch stream.
Okay.
And at one point they were in a game, he hit the PS button, it popped up like the stuff. I forget what they were trying to do. It might have been when they were trying to figure out how to create a party, because they were having trouble with that. He had a bunch of tiles for like game advertisements, basically, for like Fortnite and shit. And it was Brad, and he's like, I've never fucking played Fortnite on a PlayStation console. Why is this being advertised to me? And like he had to like go into like the settings and into like a certain area, and he could like turn those off, but it was obvious that Sony was just going to keep adding them on, just the way that they do with the PS4 with that shitty media prompt thing, and like all those other little ads that they like jump to the front of your list whenever they add them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the first thing on the like main media bar section is like an ad thing, like here's what's by or whatever.
Yeah, no, this wasn't the main media bar, like on like the main UI. This was like in a game, he hit the PS button, and like the first like 4 things were like the activity things that you could jump to, like the different like checkpoints or whatever, and then it was an ad for Fortnite.
Okay,
or like a tile to download Fortnite.
I'm actually looking at it right now. I turned on my PlayStation to look at what you were talking about right now, and yeah, I'm in Astrobot, and it brings me to like the whole help. It shows me all my trophies that I'm working on. And then at the very end, it says 10 stories from your game's official news. And then that's it. And then there's like a video clip that I recently created from Astrobot. So like it's all the way at the end of the list. There's something. But that is also, if you hold the PlayStation button in the Explorer, that's what that is. Showing like stories of games you follow and such.
Okay. Yeah, I think that might have been what they were looking at, because he couldn't figure out why Fortnite was a game he follows. Like, he doesn't play Fortnite, he doesn't want it on there, but it's still fucking there.
I don't know.
Alright, that's the UI. So, Astrobot.
That game is adorable.
Agreed.
It did seem very charming, the bits I've seen of it.
Yeah, like, when I get done playing Demon's Souls, I usually play a little bit of Bugsnax, because I need something endearing and cute, and I'm mad that I hadn't just played Astrobot after.
Yeah, you fucked up on that one.
Well, Bugsnax is still endearing and cute, but like Astrobot is just.
I've heard Bugsnax is a little fucking twisted.
It is getting there. It's kind of getting there.
Sarah told me about something that happens later in that game that was definitely very twisted.
Oh, is she playing it?
She beat it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good for
she
her.
Didn't, 100% it, because she got a little frustrated with some of the things trying to catch, but she finished the story mode. Or
nice.
The story quest.
Mm-hmm.
And all the side quests.
Well then.
But yeah, Astrobot is really cool.
Yeah.
All the goofy little nostalgia, hidden things in it, the just weird reverence and detail on the artifacts, different PlayStation consoles and accessories and shit.
I completely forgot they made a PSP GPS dongle.
I was just about to say the same thing. I'm like, they went deep on this thing, like including something like the GPS dongle.
Yeah, they did. I just got that as we were getting ready to record. I had gotten that, and I'm like, holy fuck, I forgot about that thing. But yeah, it's really cool. I've only done the beach level, the cooling springs. Yeah, I've only done that, and then I ran around the whole main GPU area, or CPU, I mean.
The GPU level, I've seen some of that. That one that actually looks really cool.
I want to do, it's the, it's the hard drive,
I forget what the areas are all called.
It's like it's super high, it's warp speed highway or something like that. Like, because it's, the solid state highway or something like that is what it's called.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that might be pretty fun. I want to do that. But
yeah, 'cause I know each level is like a different part of the inside of the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it's basically supposed to be sort of here's all the things that like this console is capable of and the cool things you can do with the controller if developers take the time to do it.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, probably very few will take the time to do it, but it's still cool to know that it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically.
Have you guys found many of the Easter eggs and artifacts and stuff yet?
I mean, to get the platinum, you have to get all the artifacts. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't actually look to see what the trophy list was for it.
Yeah. I mean, there's 2 artifacts in every level, and then a bunch in the gotcha machine thing in the area where it stores all the artifacts.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
So once you unlock one of the artifacts, it goes into the PlayStation Labo area, and you can actually interact with most of the things in there. So, like, if you have the original PlayStation, you can jump on the open button and it'll open up the PlayStation.
Oh, that's cool.
Or you can jump on the power button and you'll hear the power, like the original PlayStation boot up music. Yeah. There's also a PS1 and the screen.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
And when you get both of those, when you jump on the power button for that, like, the screen turns on and you see the original PlayStation
That's actually pretty cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's PlayStation Move controllers in there, and if you hit them, it'll change the color of the light on the bulb thing on the Move, or there's a PSP Go that you hit and it'll open and close it.
Oh, man, the PSP Go, the thing that 2 people bought.
There was, in the cooling springs or whatever, I think, like, the second area, there was just a box, and if you hit it, it does the alarm from Metal Gear Solid, and there's a Solid Snake Astrobot inside of it.
Yeah, those are throughout the whole game. There's
Yeah.
little nods to PlayStation games. Like, in one of the levels, there's one of the little Astrobots that's supposed to be the character from Gravity Rush.
Okay.
And I'm drawing a blank. There's another one in that same level that's kind of like hidden around like a corner. That's like characters from another game too.
I got a bunch of PS3 stuff, and one of them was a game, and it was bot charted.
Yeah. Yeah, each of the 4 levels, all the artifacts are one of the prior 4 PlayStation consoles.
Yeah.
I forget which ones are which, but
So Cooling
Cooling
Springs is
Springs
PlayStation
is
3.
PS3. So that's where you'll get, like, the PS3 controller. And, like, they have, like, all the actual, like, serial number sticker things on them and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's ridiculous how much detail they put in.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's just a super. I hope Astrobot becomes like essentially a Mario for Sony. Like, I hope they do more with him and make more games.
This is the 3rd one, isn't it? Because there's Astrobot's Playroom, and then there was Astrobot Search and Rescue or something like that, which is the VR title, and now this one.
Yeah, I think so. But, like, I hope they, like, because Search and Rescue was only for, was VR.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Playroom, I don't even think that was an actual game, was it? Wasn't that, like, where you did all your video editing and stuff on the PlayStation 4?
It was part of that. There wasn't so much of a game
Yeah.
with Astrobot as, like, the main character.
Yeah. So, like, this is just, it's nice to see him in, like, a full-fledged game, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's, like, it's a pack-in, but still, I like him. I think he's cute. When you go into the, cooling springs and you jump into the water, he gets a little inner tube around his belly. It was adorable.
Yeah, it seems like it's a good free game.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Absolutely.
a good game, and the fact that it's free is very cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Bug Snacks. How about them Bug Snacks?
That game is weird as hell.
I love it and hate it at the same. Like, I love it. It's a fun game, but I'm just like, I don't hate it, but I'm creeped out by it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I said this to you guys, and local Philadelphia fans might understand it. It's Pokemon and Pokemon Snap and Gritty. Like, the creatures remind me of Gritty so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, and that's kind of what gets me. It's like Gritty / Five Nights at Freddy's And it's like, that's what kind of creeps me out about it, are the characters themselves are kind of just weird. But like, having Sam Riegel, who's on Critical Role, as one of the voices of the characters, makes me like, love them a little bit more again, but I'm still creeped out by it.
I think there's a handful of actual, like, well-known voices in that game, if I remember correctly.
I've looked them up, and the only one I know is Sam Riegel. And I looked them up because one of the guys sounds like he should be, or it could have been voiced by Travis Willingham, but it's not. It's voiced by somebody else that I have no idea who it is.
Well, the guy who does the voice for Soldier 76 is Wombus, the farmer guy.
Yeah, that's who I thought was Travis Willingham.
So just looking, I just looked at the IMDb real quick. Just so off the top of the list, Yuri Lowenthal is fucking Spider-Man from the PlayStation Spider-Man games.
Okay.
He's like the fourth one down on the IMDb list. And most of the other people on here are also like, have been in a bunch of stuff. Like Todd Haberkorn is, from Fairy Tail and a bunch of stuff. He was also in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
I believe Cassandra Lee Morris is, the fucking cat from Persona 5. So yeah, there's actually a lot of pretty well-known voice actors for an indie game.
Yeah, it's nice that they got them, and like a little surprising. Like the game is, at least where I'm at, I haven't gotten any like super weird crazy shit yet, but where I'm at, it's kind of a little endearing, and it's like some weird stuff happened, and you got to go find people, and that's really all I'm at.
I mean, isn't that kind of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm about to go to the mountains. I basically cleared or not cleared, but almost cleared the desert. There's one more person I need to get at the desert, but I need to get some things from the mountains to get him from the desert.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're at the same spot.
Yeah. I've been focusing a lot more on Demon Souls than I was Bugsnax. But I do like Bugsnax. It's great.
Yeah,
well,
it's goofy. Do you play with your headset on all the time?
No, I generally only use that when I'm playing with people. Or if, say, I'm playing and Jensen's working, I'll use my headset. But it's usually only when I play with people that I have it on.
Okay, so the Bugsnax, when you catch them, they're basically Pokemon, and they all just say their name, and that'll come out of the speaker on the controller.
Yeah, I hear that on the controller.
And the voices on the Bugsnax are really...
Yeah. I caught one, it was Dr. Cola or something like that. It was a hermit crab. It's a hermit crab basically in a Dr. Pepper can. It's a hermit crab Dr. Pepper. And then Bunger and Barbecue Bunger. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, so far of the ones I've come across, those are the best.
Yeah, Bunger. It's like I said, it's Pokemon mixed with Pokemon Snap.
But
I've had that comparison a few times.
Yeah. Like, you can't say it's Pokemon Snap because it's not on rails. It's both Pokemon and Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, I mean, and all the characters look like Acid Trip Muppets. So.
Yeah. Which is why I say cross it with Gritty, and you've got Bugsnax.
So, Rich, how's Demon Souls?
Oh boy. Demon Souls is good. My first sit down to play, I don't even think I made it to the first boss. But that was on Thursday when I got the PlayStation, and I wanted to try as much out as I could. Then when I sat down Friday, I made it through the first boss. Then Saturday, I tried to go beyond the first boss. And luckily no one was home, because I was screaming at my TV to get to the second boss. Because the area I was in, I equate it to the bonfire. Except I was able to level up before I got to this point. The bonfire from Bloodborne, obviously. Because it's called the Lord's Path, and it is just a straight path that you have to go on a bridge, and there are towers throughout it that you just have to run and hope you don't get burned by a goddamn dragon. And so, I was able to get to the first tower eventually, and then I was able to eventually get to the second tower from just trial and error and constantly dying. And then after the second tower, it's just a straight run to the castle. And once you get to the castle, there are 3 crossbowmen and a fucking knight. And like the problem with this area isn't that it's strictly hard, but the amount of enemies they send at you that you have to be able to manage and kill them all before they overcome you. And I got to that point right before the castle with the 3 crossbowmen and the knight, like friggin' 30 times, and just kept getting demolished. And I'm screaming and yelling, and I get so mad that I at one point, I tend to do this when I get mad at a game. I'll, flip my controller, but, I don't throw it. I'm, I spin it, and then catch it again. Because, I'm spinning it to throw it, but then I realize this is a $70+ controller. I can't throw it, and I catch it.
Man, so eventually you're gonna miss that, and you're gonna have a fucking bad day.
I have a carpeted floor, and I don't... It's I'll be sitting, and I'll just, do one of those, drop it, but spin drop, and then catch it, within, half a foot of itself. It's weird how to explain how I do this. But I do that, and I'm like, fuck this game, it's stupid, I'm over it, and I stop, and my face blood red, and I'm like, fucking hate these games, go for it the next day, make it through that point immediately. First try, I was like, I fucking hate this game so much.
Sounds about right.
Make it through that night, there's another night immediately after, which makes it harder, because if you go too far back, you draw in both nights. So you can't go too far back, because you need to kill one night at a time. Kill the second night, clear the area above me, and then there's fog for boss area. I go into the boss area, and it is what's called Tower Night, and he kills me in one hit, without me even having a chance to do anything. And I turn it off, and I say, I'm not playing this game today. I'm not doing it. And I didn't play all day Sunday. I don't think I played anything all day Sunday because of that.
So have you thought about getting good at the game?
I beat the second, I then played on Monday, and the second time I got to Tower Night, I beat him. So it only took me 2 tries, but I only fought him once. I call it because I didn't really fight him the first time. I just got one hit KO'd. I
don't know, that's still a fight that you lost.
It is, but I didn't know anything about the fight, so usually one fight is a wash. Since then, though, I have defeated 3 more bosses, 2 or 3 more bosses since then.
So on average, how many attempts does it take you to get a boss?
I killed 1 boss in 1 try. I killed Tower Knight in 2. I killed Phalanx, took me a couple, and Armor Spider took me about 3. So under 5.
Okay, that's not bad.
I think Phalanx took me more, but that's because I was kind of rushing it and not taking my time and not, trying to figure things out. But then, Armor Spider, the first time I fought it, I thought it was just a health check and a heal check. And then I realized midway through that first fight that, oh, there's actual legit strategy that can be done here. And I figured that out in, the 4th try I got it. But, the hardest part is, Tower Knight. There's so much to do from where you load up to him, and there's so many opportunities to die that, it's a pain in the ass. Whereas, Armor Spider or Phalanx, there's not really that much space to fail between, where you load up and where you get to fighting them. And it tends to be more running to the boss after you die that gets me than actually the boss itself.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I did fight... I can't remember the name of it. It's the demon doll or something like that. I can't even remember. The fake doll or something like that. I fought that and made it to the next area in that thing's world. So I looked it up, and you're supposed to jump worlds. You can't just go straight through.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, once you kill Armor Knight, you can't progress in that world until you defeat an archdemon in a different world.
Oh,
so,
okay.
You are supposed to jump around, and each world has, one world will give you more ore and minerals to upgrade your equipment. One world, you can basically use it to grind out for souls. So that's where I'm at it's the prison. The second area of the prison, every enemy you kill drops an item to give you more souls. So not only are you getting about 200 to 300 souls per kill, then on top of that, you're getting a potential 300 to 600 soul item. So it's there's areas where you can go to grind and get the souls you need to upgrade your equipment. So it's you are supposed to jump all over the place. You're not supposed to go one after the other. And it's good. I've talked to a friend who played the first one and loved the first one.
Like the original on PS3?
Yeah, the original on PS3, and he's like, I can't wait to get a PS5 to play it. They've kept so much. It is so weird. It's so interesting. There's things I don't even know what to do and how to get them yet.
So apparently, they kept the original code, like the AI and like character stuff, and just put the new assets over top of it.
Yeah, and
I don't really know how you do that, but that's what they apparently did.
However they did it, it works. Like the enemy AI is exactly how it should be, and it's the I was fighting these things called mind flayers that did exactly what they, or not called mind flayers. I call them mind flayers. I don't know what they're called, but they're essentially mind flayers. They have like Cthulhu-like faces, and they cast magic, and then try to eat your brains if they freeze you. They're literally mind flayers. Probably called that too. I was fighting them, and I learned how to actually kill them easier because they're a tough fight if you go head to head. And like I love these type of games where it's like trial and error makes you better, and you learn like the best way to do things. And like sometimes it does become muscle memory. But like yeah, from what I hear, it's exactly the original game, like scene for scene, bit by bit. It is just graphically enhanced.
Cool. So Drew, not that this is a next-gen game or anything, but you played Tetris Effect on the PS4.
That I did. I've also ran it on the PS5 as well. Can't say I noticed any difference running it on the PS5.
And
sure,
to be fair, I actually meant the PS4 version of Tetris Effect, but the words did not come out correctly.
Fair. Yeah, hey, guess what? I kind of regret not paying $40 for that game and having played it so much sooner.
Yeah, like it's a real good Tetris game.
Yeah, it's amazing. The music is so good. The way it all interacts with your inputs, phenomenal. Like
yeah, like we were talking about, like those little sort of like the music will have beats that play as you're like spinning a piece, or will like speed up or slow down depending on like how quickly you're moving the piece. And if you do the instant drop, it makes like, you know, it might make like a little like bass thud or something like that.
Yeah. I played through all of the main story mode in one sitting. On expert, failed once.
Jesus.
I don't know. When you play, you played through like some of the story mode or whatever it's called.
I think I only have one level left.
The Metamorphosis.
I wasn't looking at any of the things, but
Okay.
the path has ended. Like there's one more to do, and I just wasn't sure if any more opened up. But I've been playing on normal, and I fail all the fucking time.
Do you ever make note of the speed number?
Yeah, usually when the speed jumps up, I do. The highest I've seen it get, I think, is a 12 or a 13.
Okay, so the lowest it ever is on expert is a 9.
Yeah, fuck that.
And the high, did it go to 20? I don't know if it's, I want to say there's at least one time where it hits 20, but it's frequently in the 12, like the normal speed is like 12 to 14. Yeah, like, and then like
11 and 12 is where I start losing it.
I've come playing that. I feel like 10 is like the sweet spot for me, where it's coming fast enough that that the game is moving, but also not too fast that I can think.
Yeah, I think 10 I can deal with fine. Like 8 or 9 is kind of like where I like it, because it's not like obnoxiously slow, but there's time for me to like think about where I want to drop the pieces. Like once you hit like 12 and 13, it's just they're falling so quickly, and especially when it's like the second or third or fourth level in like a sequence. I usually don't finish a level with no bricks, so I'm already like half screen when the music picks up, and it's over. And I watched that same video clip that you did of that dude that's like a Tetris expert, and it just like, nope, never, couldn't do that if I tried.
You know what this sounds like? Sounds like you need to get good.
I mean, he does, though that level of good is years of just playing Tetris.
Yeah, like, I don't know how the human body can actually do what he was doing. Like, the speed at which he was rotating and dropping pieces, like, I had trouble. Remember in early Dragon Ball Z, when Gohan couldn't follow the fight because he wasn't using his senses.
Yeah.
That's what this guy was like. Like, I couldn't follow what he was doing because he was doing it too fast.
Yeah.
And like, he would like build this perfect wall of blocks and then drop the 2 straight ones into place and get like 2 Tetrises in a row. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? How did you...
The wilder shit was when he would build a thing to intentionally have to do a T-spin into to get a double clear or a triple clear. And it's like, the fuck? How were you able to do that?
Yeah, like he was doing it in like this way where like it was perfectly symmetrical. Like, there weren't any like, inevitably, even when you're decent at Tetris, you end up having that like one piece that doesn't really fit someplace. So you've got like that like empty block in the middle of a chain that you just kind of have to work around. He didn't have that. All of his were perfectly lined up. Mm-hmm. As soon as he got a line, it was blocks of, it was like Tetris, like four, Tetris is 4, right? Or 5? 4.
4.
Yeah, it was insane.
He got good.
Yeah, it was like,
he did very much get good.
So, he was playing multiplayer against one of the guys from Giant Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
I think Drew said it in the chat. The first round lasted less than 40 seconds.
Damn.
Like that's how quickly he beat him.
Fucked with him. Like he was just like, I'm not even really gonna try. I'm gonna let you play this for a little bit. But
yeah, apparently, like so this guy helped work on this Tetris game basically because he was already a known Tetris like champion.
Yeah.
But he was actually told by the team to like go easy on him. And the first time I feel like he was still going easy and just didn't realize how easy he had to go.
Uh-huh.
And then the second time he's like, oh, okay, let me turn this back like 5 more notches.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that it's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't recommend it to anyone who likes Tetris anymore. Like, it's so good.
I've been wanting to get it for my dad. He loves Tetris, but
you're a shitty son and you haven't done it.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not going to buy him a physical copy. I'm going to get it digitally for him. I just have to get to his house and buy the game for him. But, because you can't gift games, like, I can't buy it on my because it was on sale. I couldn't buy it on my PlayStation and gift it to him. I wish there was a feature to do that, but you couldn't.
I thought you could now.
I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe I just haven't paid attention to it. But I don't want to, unfortunately don't want to spend $40 on a Tetris game.
Honestly, it is
100% worth it.
I know.
And that's me without saying it's worth it without even having VR, because holy fuck, that game in VR would be a fucking trip.
Yeah, Eric played it on VR, I think.
Yeah, like, I'm actually contemplating, like, when Kinect releases and I eventually have a PS5 of buying it on the PlayStation, just to play it. Because, like, honestly, like, while I am not good at Tetris, like, that is actually a Tetris game I would play on, like, multiplayer.
Yeah.
Particularly that, like, boss rush multiplayer.
Yeah, that thing seemed real fucking cool.
So Rich, I don't remember if we were talking about this in the chat or not. Tetris Effect has 2 different multiplayers. Like, there's, like, the head-to-head where you're going against somebody else and, like, you're throwing trash piles of blocks at them as you, like, get, like, line clears.
Yeah.
But there's also a boss battle set up where it's 3 real people versus, like, an AI boss. And the AI boss is throwing the garbage at you, and your 3 people are throwing the garbage at the boss. But what happens is you're all building up like a meter. When the meter builds up and it goes off, it turns your 3 individual tracks into one giant track. So you can get these giant line clears, and everyone can move around to their own, to like wherever they want on it. So like I could move over and start dropping blocks on your side if I have better blocks for like what you have going on.
And so it's
nuts.
Like a turn-based thing. Like each person drops a block. Like it'll be player 1, player 2, player 3, player 1, player 2, player 3.
Okay.
It's not like all 3 people are dropping blocks at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Was it definitely like in a thing like that? Because it was hard to tell when I was watching the one stream.
Yeah, no. Like you all see what piece you have, and you can line up where you want to put your piece, but only one person can drop their piece.
Okay.
So like,
I thought that's how it was, but it was a little hard to tell watching the stream of it.
That's what Brad said in the quick look. And
Okay. I didn't watch that whole quick look. I just watched that section where he was going against the really good guy.
Yeah. And it looked to be that way, so it definitely. But it looks real cool. I'm looking forward to Connected coming out on the PS5 next year.
Yeah, which it's sometime early next year, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. I want to say they said like summer, but I could be wrong.
Oh, is it that late? I'm
I don't
looking
know.
it up real quick. I know it's next year, but for some reason I thought it was like an early next year sort of thing.
I could be wrong.
Man, why the fuck is the first Wikipedia for this? Man, Rich, stop throwing things. I know that wasn't you, but I wanted to blame it on you anyway. Oh, you know what? It doesn't actually say. It just says the expansion will be made available for existing platforms as a free update in 2021.
Okay.
Where were we? Oh, the other thing that I forgot to actually add this on here. How was Tony Hawk on PS5?
Oh, I should probably load it on the PS4 to compare directly, but it definitely seems to load faster. And I had the weird thing going on where, like, it's about a 5-second load on restarts. Although at one point playing in one level, it was basically instantaneous, but I don't know why. And when I changed levels and went back to that level, it was not that super, 1 second load. The 5 seconds, which isn't bad, but it's not to hit the button, hit down, and go again.
Yeah, it's a bummer that game doesn't reload a little bit faster.
I wonder if they'll put out a patch to make that more of a thing.
Yeah, because it came out and then you haven't really heard anything about it since then. Like, whether it's going to get a next gen patch, whether it's going to have any DLC or extra content coming to it.
Yeah.
Because extra content would be cool. And then Rich, you mentioned a couple times, but you've been playing the Avengers and you've still been playing the Division. How have those been performance-wise on the hardware?
So Division 2 runs like a dream. I can load it up right now and be ready to play within 30 seconds, which is unfathomable on the PlayStation 4. Otherwise, the game just runs like normal because there's not a lot of loading in Division 2. It's you're in the world, you're just going to be running around. The only time it really loads is if you fast travel. And even fast travel is half as long, if not half as quick, or whatever. So it's loading in general is faster. Avengers, otherwise, getting into the game, it loads pretty much the same. But once you're going from mission to mission and playing different missions, switching your characters, it loads noticeably faster, which is nice and makes it a little bit more accessible to play in a way. Because, for instance, there's missions called hives that are just floor based. So you have to go through 5 floors, and you jump into an elevator, you go down a floor, you fight that floor, and each time you go into an elevator, it has to load the next floor. And it used to be a minute between each floor, which is, it's not that long, but it's still kind of long. Sitting there waiting a minute for it to load, or 30 seconds for it to load, and you have to do that 5 to 8 times, depending on which hive, because the elite hives are longer. Now it's you go into the elevator, and once the screen changes to black and comes back, they have their quick dialogue, and it opens. And it's less than 10 seconds at this point, which is so nice.
That's pretty cool.
I feel like the game has gotten a little glitchy, though. I've noticed, enemies just disappearing while I'm in the middle of fighting them, or, clipping around a bit. I don't know if that, I've never noticed it before, so I don't know if it's just working on the PlayStation 5 is a little too much for it, or if...
Yeah, I wonder if the new console is too fast for it to be able to load its assets.
Maybe, because, I had an enemy today while I was at lunch. It came running at me, and I hit it 3 times, and I went to go hit it the 4th, and I shoot my lasers. I'm playing as Iron Man. I shoot my lasers out, and the enemies just disappeared. The health bar doesn't go down to red and zero out. It's just gone. I'm like, what? Where did the enemy go? And, I've noticed it a few times where things like that have happened, or if I'm flying around as Iron Man. It's mostly as Iron Man that I've been playing as, because I have the rest of the characters besides Thor maxed out. If I'm flying around as Iron Man, my other characters will just teleport to me because Iron Man moves so fast. but they'll clip to right in front of me, and it'll mess up, like, my movement, which is weird. Or, like, the NPCs won't use, their specials, which is really frustrating.
Oh, that does sound annoying.
So, like, the daily missions in Avengers are boss fights. It's, like, one of the 4 bosses you fight, and you have 2 of them a day. One for the S.H.I.E.L.D. and one for the Inhumans. I can kill Abomination if I'm playing as Black Widow in less than 2 minutes, maybe 3. But when I'm playing as Iron Man and I have Black Widow with me, she doesn't use her invisibility, which gives everyone auto crits on every attack. She doesn't use her power up. She doesn't shoot her lightning weapon. Like, none of them are using their abilities, which makes it harder because, like, Hulk, when he uses a special, heals everyone around him. Or Kamala has that healing ability in general. And I just haven't been getting that. So I don't know if it's like, some update they recently did for the game has made them stupider, or if it's the PlayStation 5, if there's a glitch with the PlayStation 5 and the character's doing that stuff. I don't really know. But they used to constantly use their abilities before. And, like, I would always hear Tony using his arc reactor beam, and I would always have Hulk using his smashes when I'm playing his other characters. So, like, loading and gameplay-wise, it's fine, but, like, certain other things are, like, kind of glitching out. I can't say if it's PS5 or if it's something that Crystal Dynamics did in the background. Because I think there was a recent update for it, so I don't really know. But, like, solid state-wise is really all I care about at this point. It loads so much faster, and, like, if I'm playing one of my better characters, I can get done my dailies within a half hour to 45 minutes, rather than a full hour, which I have an hour for lunch. Yeah, it cleans up a lot of time and expense.
All right. Well, do you guys have any other just, like, overall, like, thoughts or opinions or any problems you've had so far?
I haven't had any problems so far, so that's good. I like it's a dumb little thing, but I like how they integrated Spotify even better.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was playing Division the other day, that I could, like, turn on a playlist. I don't know if the other players would have heard it, or if it would have just been me. But yeah, you can log into Spotify and just play all your shit from.
You gotta watch out though. They're gonna DMCA you or DMCA. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there's just a music button in that, but at least by default you can customize the bar at the bottom of the button.
Yeah.
But one of the options is just music, and scroll over to it, and it pulls up your Spotify with some pre-made, like, popular on PlayStation playlist, and then all your normal playlists.
Is Spotify the only music service they have?
As far as I know.
That's a bummer.
I haven't looked around on there too much. My only issue is there's no HBO Max on there. But they have fucking Peacock, so...
Well, good thing you just got that free Chromecast Ultra, right?
Yeah. I haven't hooked that up yet. I'm still using my old Chromecast.
And you're living in the past. You're living in the past.
Look, my TV doesn't even do 4K, so it's fine. It's fine.
I was going to say something about I don't even remember anymore. Never mind.
Never mind.
So I've still been using the Xbox, obviously. Have a couple more thoughts on it now that I've had, like, more than just a day to mess with it.
Yeah.
So I like the controller. I don't like the textured grip.
Interesting.
So it's basically the same controller. There's real subtle changes to it. Like, the top is straight across rather than, like, the Xbox One had kind of, like, a little, like, cutout in it.
Yeah.
The D-pad is that, like, 8-point D-pad instead of just the up, down, left, right.
Yeah.
But I like it. Like, it's got, like, a nice clickiness to it. So, like, you know when you're hitting a direction. All the buttons feel good. The triggers feel good. All that stuff. But the back of it has that, like, textured grip. And I just don't like it. Like, it just feels weird. Which makes me wonder if I'm going to dislike the way that the DualSense feels. Because that also has a textured grip.
I feel like... I don't know what how textured the Xbox controller is, but, like, I barely feel the textured grip now that I've used it a handful of times. Like, it's just, like, it's natural to me now, I guess.
Agreed.
So, yeah, like, that might be something for you.
And, like, don't get me wrong, the textured grip is not like oh, this is awful, I hate using this thing. It's just, like, I would be happy to just have it all the same texture all the way around.
Yeah.
I mean, because I would say, like, the PlayStation 5 controller textured grip feels like the PlayStation 4 textured grip. Like, it's not that different, in my opinion, from the PS4.
Okay. Yeah, I think the weird thing with the Xbox is the front of it feels different than the back of it. And it's not the whole back, so, like, if your fingers, like, reach to the middle, it's a different texture than, like, the actual, like, handles.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. And, like, it's rough. It's, like a, obviously not sandpaper, but, like, that's the best description I have right now.
It sounds like it might be a lot more textured than the PlayStation 5 controllers. So, like, you might be fine with the PlayStation controller.
I mean, look, I'm sure I will be fine with it. It's not like it's going to make me not want to use it. It's just one of those, like, I wish this was just the same all the way around.
Just get some sandpaper and rub that texture off.
Honestly, if they weren't so damn expensive, I would love to buy one of the Elite 2 controllers, because those things are fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't justify $150 fucking on a controller.
Yeah.
Especially when, like, it's not like I have a PC, so it's not like I would use it for PC gaming also.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, that's too much.
Maybe you can use that awesome, rad, clearly white Stadia controller.
Why would I want to do that?
I don't know.
Also, I don't think you can.
Probably not. I was just laughing at the fact that it was called Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I forgot that was the actual name of it. I could actually just use Xbox One controllers if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
There was something else I was going to say. Oh, it looks like they did take down Design Labs, like where you can go online and create your custom controllers until January.
Mm-hmm.
Where they will probably relaunch with the Xbox Series X design controllers.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, I've never gotten one, but like that whole Design Lab thing is cool, like being able to pick all the colors and like buttons and everything out for your controller. And they're not that much more expensive than just a regular ass controller. I think they were 70 or 80, whereas like your normal controller was 60.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I also noticed that network speeds are not very good. And I don't know if it's just a matter of it's new, so everyone's downloading shit. But like the Xbox network actually used to be pretty good. I could download stuff fairly quickly. Now I'm getting like at best 20 megabits a second down. Like it took a full day to download like 5 games.
Yeah, that might be because of so many people on the network right now, or so many people on the systems.
That's what I'm
downloading
hoping.
Shit, that's probably what it is. Because when I played like even 360 games and Xbox One games, like the Xbox download speeds are so much better than the PlayStation.
Yeah,
but I'll say the download speeds on the PS5 were really, because I didn't actually do any of the transfer stuff. I just downloaded the like 5 games I cared to go download, and they downloaded pretty fast.
Well, yeah, I transferred I think like 4 or 5 games. The dumb thing is I couldn't transfer the copy of Resident Evil 4 that I had, or Resident Evil 7 that I had on my PlayStation 4, because it wasn't supported by the PlayStation 5.
Oh, that's very weird.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of version I have on my PS4. I think it might have been the definitive version, so I think I might be missing shit, or might not be able to play shit, or do something.
It may have just been an issue with the transfer. Like, if you go into the store, you can probably download it.
I'll have to double check, but it says not supported on a PS5. I will send it over.
There were only those 10 games that didn't work, and Resident Evil 7 is a big enough game that they definitely would have tested it.
Resident Evil 7 is also one of the classics games, the PlayStation Plus games.
Yeah.
Which is,
oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Which is why I find it so much weirder that, like, why can't I transfer this version over that I bought and paid for? Why do I have to technically purchase and add to my library a new version of Resident Evil 7?
I would check, like, go into the store on the console later and try and just download it. It's probably there.
Yeah. I will. Oh, well, I already added it on PlayStation Plus to my library, so I'll have to go through it. It's not a big deal. But I might hook up my PlayStation 4 to one of my other monitors just to, like, compare the versions and see what I do have and don't have. And then email Sony and be like, yo, what the fuck?
Well, if you have a definitive edition that has DLC, the DLC is not built into it. It's still a separate download. So you would still just have to go into the store and download the DLC.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just lost track of something else I was going to say. Fuck. I'm having a bad time with this tonight, guys.
You're talking about network speeds.
No. Literally about what we were just talking about with, like, downloads and DLC and shit. Oh, fuck me.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, apparently not. So I tried out Remote Play,
Mhm.
which is basically the same as xCloud, only it's playing right off your console instead of over the internet.
Yeah.
It works really good. It works better than the like xCloud like online play. Like there was no weird buffering or screen tearing or anything like that. So like if you're in a situation where like you can't play on a TV but you have a phone and a controller, like it's a good way to play like indie games.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't necessarily want to play like Yakuza that way, but like Spiritfarer or Dead Cells or something like that, it's a perfect way to play those.
Yeah.
And then I tried a few other Series X enhanced games that have like gotten patches and stuff. So Forza Horizon 4, I believe, is the one it is. It's the one that's in England that has the weather, the different seasons.
Yeah.
Man, those games look real good.
They always have. That's the one thing, like, the one up Forza has over Gran Turismo is, like, Forza looks beautiful in every version.
Yeah, and like this is no different. It looks great on my TV. Like I do have a 4K TV. I'm using the HDMI cord that it came with. I honestly couldn't tell you what the frame rate or anything is because unless it's dropping like below 25, I honestly don't know the fucking difference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how old's your TV?
2 years, I think, maybe 3.
It's running at 60 frames a second though.
Yeah. Oh no. I knew it wasn't running at 120 because like that I know, but I just don't know if I can't tell the difference between 30 and 60. Like they look the same to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it runs really well. It loads super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause I played that for a few minutes on xCloud just to see how like a game like that would run. And there was a lot of loading in that game. Like beyond just like the internet loading, like loading of the game itself on the Xbox hardware.
Mm-hmm.
But everything was basically fucking instant on this, which was really cool. So it was just like dropping you right into races and stuff like that. I'm not good at it in any sense of the word. I haven't really put the time in to like get good at racing games before. Like my method is always just hold the gas and hope I don't spin out. But it's fun. It's fun to just drive around in those games because it's just open world basically.
Yeah.
And then I also the Master Chief Collection got an update for the Series X. And it also looks and runs really well. I played a little Halo 2. And like that game does not look like a fucking Xbox 360 game. Or no, original Xbox game.
Yeah.
And I forget, so technically it's the Anniversary Edition, which I guess came out in 2014, which would put it as an Xbox One game.
Yeah.
But even then, like, it doesn't look like an up-res game. Like, or like a remaster of a game like that.
I think because they did the same thing with that they did with Halo 1, where you could swap back and forth between the original graphics and...
Yeah, I haven't done that, but, like, it looks really good, and it plays really, really good on the Series X.
Yeah.
Like I said, like, no load times, and the Master Chief Collection was fucking sluggish. Like, Drew, I don't know if you remember, but, like, we played a little bit of Halo 1, like, that one time you and Sarah were over while her and Erica were doing something. And, like, getting into that game takes a while. Like, it was slow. There was a lot of loading, a lot of connecting. Now it's basically instant.
Nice.
Like, you hit start campaign, you hit resume, and you're wherever you left off.
Yeah, like, that's the best thing about this generation so far. Like, I saw somebody share, I think it was Sean, shared, sorry I haven't texted you back. Video games have no load screen anymore.
Yeah, no, I've seen that a couple times.
Like, that's, like, I had commented, like, that's one of my biggest issues with Avengers right now is because there's no loading before missions. I'm constantly having full inventory because I have that 1 hour window to play, so I don't want to keep opening my inventory. But, like, my inventory fills up almost so quickly sometimes that, like, I can't change things because it's loading too fast. Yeah,
I mean, that's a problem. And I see a lot of people, like, tweeting out and stuff that, like, they don't have time to, like, scroll through Twitter and see all of the bullshit going on because video games load too quick now.
Yeah.
Like, load screens went away. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
So I did have a weird thing happen with Halo. When I started it up, so when you start it up, you have all the games listed in the collection, and it was showing that all of the games were completed except for Reach. and then I got a bunch of achievement pops for things that I didn't do. Like, I got like a multiplayer achievement. I've never fucking even turned multiplayer on in that game.
Have you maybe done them in past Halo games?
No, like, I've never played multiplayer in the Master Chief Collection.
That's weird.
Like, I haven't even had I haven't had Xbox Live since before Halo 3 came out.
Yeah.
Or no, you know what? I had it longer than that, but I just never used it. Because I was buying it like a year at a time, so it just kind of like sat there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it was just like a weird little glitch that happened.
Hey, I'll take it. If I were to get free trophies, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, luckily it didn't mess with my progress, because like I was in the middle of Halo 2. So it shows it as completed, but it let me resume from where I left off, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I have on Xbox is I'm still making my way through Yakuza. And it's hit the point of like the batshit crazy Yakuza stuff. So the main character Ichiban, he is now full on I'm a hero mode. At one point you walk out of an area and you see a bat that's like embedded in the cement, like the stored in the stone.
Yeah.
And the two other guys with you try to pull it out, and neither of them can do it. And then Ichiban goes over and pulls it out, and like light shines on him, and the music plays. And as he pulls the bat out, it's wrapped in barbed wire. And he declares that as his hero sword.
Okay.
And the other two guys just like go with it, like, all right, man, fucking whatever you say.
Yeah.
But all of the enemies now change a little bit. Some enemies like turn into like much larger, kind of scarier looking dudes. Other ones will pull out like a trash can lid and a baseball bat out of nowhere as like a sword and a shield.
Okay.
So weird. And like some of the special abilities you have. So one of your three party members, where I'm at right now, he's a homeless guy. He used to be a nurse. Now he's homeless, and he's actually the one that Ichiban gets shot in the previous chapter before you meet him, and he's actually the one that like sews him up and saves his life. But his special attacks are, first off, his weapon is an umbrella.
Okay.
There's also a weapon that it says it's a massager. It looks like a dildo.
So that's how those things are marketed.
Yep. So, the homeless guy, two of his moves are, one of them, he pulls out a bag of birdseed, throws it at the enemy, and the enemy gets attacked by pigeons. And the other one is he turns around and takes a swig out of alcohol out of like a paper bag, and then lights a lighter and blows fire at the dude.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny.
That's ridiculous. I was kind of hoping for the to quote Kevin Hart, the bum bump. He had this running bit where like he would never want a bum to touch him because he's convinced they're so dirty that if they touch you, you get a bump wherever they touch you, and it's like he calls it the bum bump, and it's gross and weird. I'm not doing it any justice.
No, you're not at all.
But like I was kind of hoping they would have played along with that. But when you get a chance, look up Kevin Hart bum bump, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. So keep in mind, this game is insanely Japanese.
Yeah.
It's actually very funny because I have it set to the English dub, which I believe this is the first Yakuza game since the original Yakuza on PS2 to have a dub. Because even Kiwami didn't have it. Because the original Yakuza on PS2 is one of those games that had a bunch of like famous actors, like screen actors doing voices. Like Ray Liotta, I think, was Kiryu. And then like that game didn't sell, so they never went out of their way to get names like that to voice stuff again.
Yeah.
Right.
But so I have it set to the English voices, just 'cause it's easier that way. And at one point, you initiate a side quest when you're walking up to somebody who is an American, obviously an American, who is talking to you very slowly, trying to find out where the train station is. And then your character goes, huh? Oh, you're a foreigner. That's English. In English. And it's just like, oh man, this is fucking great. And then like, he responds in like very slow, broken English to the guy.
Nice.
And it's so funny.
Yeah.
But other than that, so this game incorporates Pokemon in a weird roundabout way.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a side quest that starts by you walking on the street and a dude in a trench coat comes out and flashes you, and you then proceed to beat him up. Well, he attacks you. He is feral, 100%. But once you finish fighting him, this like weird doctor, like scientist in a lab coat shows up with a bunch of scars and shit. And he introduces himself as the Sujimon professor, and he explains to you that Sujimon are his term for basically like scumbags.
Okay.
And he wants you to complete his Suji decks by going around the city and fighting all of the different sort of like Yakuza and bums and shitty people that roam the city.
Yeah.
And it's a Pokedex. Like, you look at it, it's got like data just like the Pokedex does. And then when you ask him about it, he tests you to see if like you're ready for it. And he calls out 3 goons, and it's a guy in a red suit, a blue suit, and a green suit. And he asks you to pick which one's your favorite color, which is just like, you know, like your fire, your water, and your grass starter.
Yeah.
And then his actual line is, "Gentlemen, I choose you. Get ready for a Sujimon battle."
I have Kiwami, because it was a free game, and he
Yeah.
told me to play. I want to play it. These sound so ridiculous.
Oh, so Kiwami's really good. I got like halfway through that. The beat 'em up stuff just, I'm not a huge beat 'em up fan. I've come to realize.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really like the narrative of that game, but the gameplay was kind of like, or the fight part of it was kind of what was like, eh.
Yeah.
Like they did a really good job with it, but it's just not my style of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
This one being more of like a turn-based game, like so much better in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, these games have like, they're so fucking over the top. And like they kind of go into like the dark corners of like Japanese culture. Like you don't see any of this stuff, but a lot of Like a Dragon kind of rotates around like the prostitution industry in Japan.
Yeah.
So like your main character Ichiban, he was raised in a bathhouse. They're called soaplands, which are basically just fronts for prostitution. But in Japan, it's not illegal prostitution. It's like a gray area prostitution.
Yeah.
It's super weird. But yeah, so like you fall in with a bunch of different people that sort of like run these businesses. And like most of them aren't bad, it seems. Right now, like the story quest I'm on right now is we got hired by a guy who runs like one of these like gray area prostitution centers. And one of his like top girls has been like calling out of work a whole bunch, and she was only working there because her father was sick. Like apparently she worked in like a big corporate office place and then quit to go do this stuff because it was better money. And you find out that she's probably being blackmailed by this retirement home that is going to kill her father if she doesn't pay them an absurd amount of money. So now like we're like working to get into this retirement home, and it's so fucking weird and over the top. Like,
Yeah.
I was asked by the police to help them catch a dude peeing in the river.
That's just nuts. These games always sound so ridiculous. I've just never gotten into them.
Yeah, no, they're a good time. They're definitely a good time. So all the fun stuff out of the way, there have been a couple reports that I've seen about some issues with the new consoles, which are bound to happen. It's new hardware, like things go wrong.
Yeah, there's going to be bugs. They'll work on a way to fix them. I remember seeing as the PlayStation 4 launched, somebody's review copy was completely bricked, or review machine completely bricked because it was having like drive issues or something like that.
Which sucks.
Yeah, it does.
So what I've been seeing so far, for the PS5, the big issue seems to revolve around having like a USB drive hooked up to the console. Now, you can't put PS5 games on USB, but you can put and play your PS4 games on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then along with the USB drive, there also seems to be an issue with certain games getting put into like sleep mode. So it was either Miles Morales or the Spider-Man remaster. I forget which one I saw. People were saying that when they were putting that game into sleep mode, it was actually like crashing the console, or at least hard resetting it, rather than keeping it in sleep mode, which was then causing the USB drives to have to get rebuilt every time, and like doing system checks. And I've seen at least one report of like a console actually like bricking after this. So like it might be a wise idea to not plug a USB drive in, or to not leave one plugged in.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't plan on expanding my hard drive or any of this shit until like all of that stuff is fixed.
once Sony actually releases like what their recommended like approved drives are, then it's like, all right, well, how much are these drives? And then is it worth buying one to expand the I think it's like 600 gigs of space is what you have to work with, right?
Yeah.
The Xbox is just too expensive. Like $219 for a terabyte is fucking absurd.
Yeah.
Speaking of Xbox, though, they have also had some problems. People have been noting about consoles crashing. And I saw at least one report of somebody's console actually got bricked and they had to send it into Microsoft to hopefully get a new one. But apparently Microsoft has less supply of Xboxes than Sony has of PlayStations.
Really?
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you guys follow or have like notifications on, but like I have the notifications for Wario 64.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not a lot of PS5s going up, but like they've at least gone up pretty regularly. Like between like PlayStation Direct and a few other retailers since launch. Today was the first day since launch that Microsoft has had any Xboxes available.
Wow.
And that was Microsoft had them on their site. And they said that they're going to be in short supply until spring. But yeah, so it looks like actually Yakuza has been the game people have been playing that have caused some of the crashing issues. And I actually, while I was playing it at one point, I actually had like my console lock up. Like it froze on like a sound too. So like my TV speakers just kept doing like the like from like whatever noise had happened.
Yeah.
And like no button inputs were doing anything. Like I couldn't like get a menu up or anything like that. But I let it sit for like 30 seconds, maybe a little bit longer. And it did eventually, actually, it might have been closer to a minute. It did eventually like catch up and start going again. But it was one of those things. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I had, on my PlayStation 5, I had issues with Demon Souls. One point, not immediately, but after I killed Tower Knight and went to go back to the Nexus, the game crashed. So, first of all, I was scared because I thought I'd lost my progress from after killing Tower Knight, which I would
that would suck.
I did. It saved immediately after I killed Tower Knight, which was nice. The other issue was, I think I was going from, like, Netflix or something into Demon Souls, and, like, I clicked the icon for Demon Souls, and it would load up its, like, load card, where it has, like, the title and then whatever it would show on the screen as it loads the game. And I sat there for a few minutes, and it wasn't loading. Nothing was happening. It wasn't moving. There was no music or anything in the background. But I was able to hit the PS button and open up different, like, menu things to where I jumped over to Bugsnax, and it loaded the game immediately, and then went back to Demon Souls, and it loaded Demon Souls immediately. It was weird. I don't know how that happened, but I think those are more issues with the game and less issues with the console.
Yeah, no, that sounds like it was more of a game issue than a console issue.
Yeah.
So this is some shitty news. Ubisoft Montreal got swatted on Friday.
Was it an actual swatting? Is that what's been officially reported? It wasn't an actual hostage situation or whatever?
Nope. They were the Montreal Police Department was called by somebody who reported a hostage situation at their office, which is why it was being reported as a hostage situation.
Wow.
And like so it was no one knew what was going on when this stuff was reported on Friday afternoon. So there were a bunch of posts online about like a possible hostage situation, a lot of news outlets reporting hostage situations. There were at least a handful of reporters, like I know Jason Schreier was one of them out there, like, there's no confirmation on what this is. Like, we need to stop saying it's a hostage situation until we know what it is. You're just freaking out the friends and family of people that are in that office.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turned out that somebody was just a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's just, like, I hate that people still do this shit. Like, you're wasting money, time, like, and all, like, why? Why would you do this? Especially to, like, a developing company. Like,
because
why would you do it
Ubisoft.
Like, I'm not a fan of Ubisoft, but I would never turn around and, like, call a SWAT, I would never call a SWAT against my most hated enemy, unless there was an actual legitimate reason to have to call the SWAT team on them. Like, I don't understand people. I really don't.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that people think that that's even funny to do.
Yeah.
And, like, on top of that, like, Twitter was actually just full of, and Reddit were full of people just being shitty, like people always are on the internet. A couple of the things I saw were people saying, like, oh, looks like they're practicing for a Siege update. And some people saying that they deserve to be in a hostage situation because their games suck.
And like, that is so shitty. Those are the people that send death threats to voice actors. Like,
yeah.
These are people's lives. If this is an actual hostage situation, people's lives are on the line. And you're gonna say, oh, well, their game sucks, so good. Like, fuck you. Seriously.
Yeah, the only sort of, like, I don't even want to say good thing about it, but, like, the other side to that is for every asshole that said something like that, there were, like, 20 people responding to their comment, basically telling them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. I'm glad, like, people are attacking the shitty trolls on the internet. But,
yeah,
like,
I mean,
you can't feed the trolls because feeding the trolls makes them more powerful. So.
Yeah. But yeah, luckily, nothing bad happened. Everyone's safe.
Yeah.
So,
that's good to hear. I'm glad everyone's safe. Everyone's okay. I'm pissed off that it was a swatting and not. And I am more mad that this was a swatting than if it were an actual hostage situation going on.
I mean, I'm glad it was just a swatting and not an actual hostage situation, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah. Like, I'm glad it was stupid like this. But I'm mad that it was this and not the other thing, because so much time, money, and resources were wasted because some stupid kid wanted to play a prank.
Yeah, exactly. So the Game Award nominees came out today.
Yeah.
The only one that I really took note of was the Game of the Year contenders. So up for Game of the Year at the Keeleys this year is Animal Crossing: New Horizon, Doom Eternal, Hades, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and The Last of Us Part 2. Which, like, that seems like a pretty good, like, encompassment of games from this year. Like, obviously, they're from this year, but, like, I don't know, that seems like a good sort of, like, mixture of stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah, like, I'm more shocked about Hades being on there, since it kind of just came out. Or no, it's actually been out for a while. It just came out on Switch. Never mind. I'm wrong with that.
It's been in early access for a while, but it just released for real back in, early October or late September?
Yeah.
I think it was September.
But, like, as long as it came out before, I think, like, next week or something like that, it was eligible.
Yeah, makes sense.
And people really, really like Hades.
It's fucking awesome. Like,
I mean, if anything, I'm surprised that such a small game is up for Game of the Year when you look at, like, the other games that are nominated, but, like, it just goes to show you, like, what Supergiant did with that game.
Yeah.
Also, Animal Crossing being on there is weird and cool.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Animal Crossing being on. So many people got it. So many people love it. I'm so happy they're finally increasing fucking storage space, although you have to buy it from the crook that is Tom Nook, but they're finally increasing it.
You know what? Like, just as far as the awards go, real quick before I forget this, like, I forgot everything else. The one place it wasn't nominated that I'm surprised it wasn't was, like, Best Ongoing Game.
What, for Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that section.
Well, because
that is a shock.
Because it's, like, Apex Legends and Call of Duty and, like, all the shooters, basically.
Yeah.
But, like, this fits. Like, this would be an ongoing game.
Yeah, definitely. So, Apex, Destiny 2, Warzone, Fortnite, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is in ongoing. Wow.
Yeah, no, that game just keeps coming. It is. No Man's Sky was also nominated for, like, Best Community Effort or something like that.
I'm looking at it, and the first 5 categories
are pretty much all the same.
First 6, 5 or 6 categories are pretty much Last of Us, Hades, Final Fantasy VII, and Doom.
Which is basically how every
and Ghost of Tsushima, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed, like voice acting, I think it was Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, I forget what the other ones were. I know the guy that does the voice of the main character in Ghost of Tsushima was nominated, and Ashley Johnson and Laura Bailey were both nominated. Yeah. I forget who else was in there, though.
Hades,
Miles.
the guy who does the voice for Hades, and the guy who...
Right. I think that was the only nomination that the Spider-Man game got.
It looks like it. But that game literally just came out, so I'm not surprised, I guess. Hey, Spiritfarer is on there.
Spiritfarer is on there like 2 or 3 times. It's under like best games for inclusion,
Games
best
for
indie
Impact.
game. There you go, Impact.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, like, some of the smaller categories definitely have the better, like, not the better games, but like the less iconic games of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the last like 6 categories are the ones that we don't know anything about. It's all the esports stuff.
Yeah.
And like the content creator of the year, I know one fucking person out of the 5 or 6 of them. I looked at the other names, I'm like, I have no fucking clue who any of these people are.
Same.
Yeah, like I know who Alana Pierce is. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Innovation in accessibility. Recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience.
Yeah, there's
So,
a huge, like, I don't want to say demographic because that's not the right word, but there's just like there's a big community, that's a better word, of people pushing for accessibility options in games, whether it's for colored-blind or for different controller types, for even you know that game Grounded? It was the where like it was Honey I Shrunk the Kids basically.
Mm-hmm.
That game, I believe that game has an option to change all of the spiders to like pink blobs or something like that. For people with arachnophobia.
Yeah, that's one of the games that's in that. It's Assassin's Creed, Grounded, Hyperdot, Last of Us Part 2, and Watch Dogs Legion, which that's interesting.
Yeah,
I just
so
never heard of that category before. I think that's pretty cool.
I believe they had it last year too. Cause yeah, like it doesn't even have to be like the big things like the color blindness or stuff like that. Even just the way The Last of Us gets like nitty gritty with difficulty settings.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference for somebody that's maybe like extremely visually impaired or doesn't have the motor skills to be able to deal with like the precise action those games require.
Yeah.
But still wants to experience those games.
So so let's just get into this real quick. Best family game: Paper Mario and the Origami King, Minecraft Dungeons. Okay. Fall Guys, Crash Bandicoot 4, Animal Crossing, and Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
It's a video game.
It's I guess, yeah.
You can only play it on the Switch.
Inside your house.
But like,
And you can't play it outside.
yeah.
If you buy a pair of sunglasses, you can tape a sunglass to the lens. It will kind of work.
I think that's pretty crazy. I would never have thought like I guess that is essentially a Toys to Life kind of game.
Yeah.
But like, I never saw it as a video game because you need the cart, you need to play it in your house. Like, if you don't have more than one cart, you can't play against, like, y'all need carts.
No, you only need one cart. Like, there's an AI that you can race against.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, for like, especially for the quote family, like,
if you wanted to play with multiple people, but at that point you also need multiple Switches.
Yeah. I didn't think that would be considered. I also didn't realize you needed your Switch for that. But I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it syncs up to your Switch. So like there's a camera on the cart and you see what the camera sees on the Switch, but it's AR, so it puts all of like the AI racers and stuff like that in front of you. It puts the power-ups and everything in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then like your cart actually responds. So like if you get like a mushroom power-up, your cart will go a little faster. If you get hit with lightning, your cart will slow down.
Yeah.
It seems actually kind of neat.
It is
what it is.
You need a lot of open space for it though, and none of us have the space needed.
No. I could probably do it the way my living room is laid out.
So it has to be able to make a circle.
Yeah, my living room can make a circle.
Yeah, but your living room's tight with all your furniture.
Oh, I mean that makes the race more exciting. But
Maybe.
I could like move my. Actually, I don't know how high the clearance is, but my coffee
They're
table.
actually pretty big.
Yeah, I'd have to see the clearance, but if it's not that tall, my coffee table might be able to be like a tunnel thing underneath it and whatnot. But like I can make a circle in my living room, and we can move furniture around.
Your coffee table is too low for these. They actually sit pretty high because they have the big fin on the back with the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, cause, I Drew, I don't know if you watched it, but Jan did a video for it, and he couldn't make a proper circle with the track. So when he gets back to his start, he has to make this very hard U-turn, and the cart just can't do it. Because basically, the starting line is also the finish line, just like any other Mario course. Yeah. So you have to be able to make it naturally loop back around on itself.
Yeah.
And it looks like the more room, and this is obvious, but the more space you have, the better control you'll have, because it does not do tight turns well. But look as far as the Game Awards go, looking at the list of Game of the Year stuff, you guys have any thoughts on who you think will win?
I feel like it's going to be up between Ghost and Final Fantasy.
I would say it's going to be between Hades and Animal Crossing, honestly.
See, I think it's between Animal Crossing and Last of Us.
I mean, that's the thing. Last of Us was a great game. I wasn't a fan of the ending, and there's a lot of people that weren't a fan of the game because of the content within it. But I still acknowledge it was a fantastic game. But I personally, I haven't played Ghost, but I hear nothing but good about Ghost. And I really friggin' loved Final Fantasy, so that's why, I put, 1, 2, and 3 would be Final Fantasy, Ghost, and Last of Us. I don't think Animal Crossing's going to be top 3, I'm surprised it's kind of on there.
So, I can never, and I haven't looked at it, I can't remember how the voting works for this, because I know it's, you can vote online at thegameawards.com, and that factors into it somehow, but then they also have, a voting committee. Mm-hmm. And I think it'll really come down to that. I think the voting committee has is weighted higher than the fan votes. Mm-hmm. Specifically so that people can't just game the system by, signing up with a bunch of different email addresses and, voting for the same game over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And killing Jason Todd like they did in the 80s. So, I think Animal Crossing has a legit chance depending on who that committee is. Because, the games industry really likes Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
So, they posted the list of all the websites that have votes. And it's 90-something websites from across the whole world all get votes.
Nice.
Giant Bomb included.
Yeah. So, Jeff was always invited to E3 Judges Week, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, especially US-based, all the big US sites have a vote.
Yeah, I'm sure even some of, the smaller, content creators at this point do, your Kind of Funnies.
Kind of Funny was on there. What's Good Games was also on there.
Okay, yeah, they were another one I was going to say is probably big enough that they're on there. Easy Allies, I would assume, is on there. Because all those guys are all the old Game Trailers guys.
I don't remember seeing that name, but I also don't recognize that name, so I skipped it as I was going through.
Yeah, which, that's fair. Yeah, I've only, seen a little bit of their content. I just know that's what when Game Trailers shut down a handful of years ago, everyone that was involved in that site started up Easy Allies.
But it's the second name on the list.
Nice.
Actually.
But yeah, so I guess so none of us think Doom Eternal is winning. That's kind of what we've got here.
Yeah. I feel like the reception on Doom Eternal was less than the reception on 2016. So.
Yeah, I feel like Doom 2016... But, so, I think people liked Doom Eternal. I think the problem was people didn't expect to like 2016, and then it was phenomenal, and it got hyped up so much that, there was just no chance of Doom Eternal actually hitting that same level of hype.
Yeah.
I have to try Doom Eternal still. I think it's on Game Pass, actually.
Yeah, I also did play that at some point.
Speaking of playing stuff, I tried out that Stadia that I got for free.
I haven't.
You suck. You already said you didn't plug in your Chromecast.
Well, that's one of the bigger problems, is I don't have a free outlet, or because we have our work PCs hardwired into my router, I don't have I don't have spare plug space at all to be able to hook this up right now. So I was just I'll do it at some point, or never. I got a free Chromecast. That's all I care about.
I mean, you may be able to use the existing USB cable and have it powered off your TV. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. But, it makes sense to have the Ethernet cable hooked in for the better internet onto the thing to play games.
So I don't have mine wired in. I don't have an Ethernet cable long enough to go from where my modem or from where my Switch is to where the Chromecast is.
Okay.
And especially like if I ever plug this thing in downstairs, I definitely can't do that.
Yeah.
So like I have it just on wireless, and it actually works really well.
Okay.
Like it's honestly kind of disappointing how well it works. Like, so I tried Sniper Elite 4, Risk of Rain, and I played through the entire Immortal Phoenix Rising demo.
Mm-hmm.
Had no issues with it. There was no, like, weird buffering, no screen tearing, no, like, dropped connections or blurriness. Like, everything ran great. Button inputs were super timely. Like, there was no noticeable lag on anything.
Good to know.
Yeah, like, the controller... The setup was super easy. Like, the controller just connects to wireless. Once you set up your Chromecast... Like, literally, I set up the Chromecast, and then I just turned the controller on, and the Chromecast recognized the controller and asked if I wanted to set it up.
Okay.
Cool.
And then, yeah, you use the app on your phone, and you connect it to wireless and everything, and, yeah, it just worked.
Nice.
And that Immortal Phoenix Rising game, that's the Ubisoft game that used to be called Gods and Monsters. But Monster Energy Drink made them change the name.
Yeah, right.
It's a Ubisoft game, but it doesn't really feel like a Ubisoft game. It was actually a lot of fun. It was very Breath of the Wild-esque. It's one of those, like, you can climb on anything, so, like, and you have a stamina bar. So, as long as you have stamina left, you can climb. And as long as you have stamina, you can glide off of high things that you jump off of. Like, They definitely looked at Breath of the Wild and said, "Oh, we can do this. Why not?"
Yeah.
But it's set in Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
So your narrators for the game are Prometheus and Zeus. And Prometheus is your like main narrator, whereas Zeus is your unreliable narrator that's just kind of fucking making shit up as he goes.
Yeah. That literally is Zeus. Like,
yeah,
he's...
it was really charming. At one point, I got to like this area like where a fight was going to happen, and there was, I think it was like a deer or something was there initially. And as I walk in there, Prometheus starts to like tell the story, or like the over narration stuff, and then Zeus cuts in and goes, "No, it was a this, or it was a this, or that," and he keeps naming all these different monsters from Greek mythology. Like he says like a griffin and a minotaur and the sheep that Heracles had to hide under and all this stuff. And then at one point Prometheus goes, "Why not a flock of hell roosters or something like that?" And Zeus just goes, "Yeah, that's it. I like that. Let's go with that." And you then have to fight a pack of like these hell roosters.
Okay. That's awesome. I wanted to try that game out. I think it came out for the Switch. It should be out for the Switch.
It's not out yet.
Yeah, it was coming out for the Switch. And so I was just gonna wait for it then. But if it becomes free on PlayStation or something like that, I'll get it for that instead.
I'm actually double checking to see what it's releasing on.
PS4, PS5, Switch, and Stadia.
And so it's literally releasing everywhere. It's even releasing on the Amazon Luna.
Okay, yeah.
So Amazon Luna, Microsoft Windows, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, 5, Stadia, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S.
Yeah.
But it was actually fun. Like, I liked it a lot. I don't know that I'd spend $60 on it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I'm going to keep an eye on when it comes out and see what else I'm playing. Because it was a lot of fun.
You have a free 3 months of Stadia Pro, so if it becomes one of the free games on Stadia Pro when it gets released, there you go.
I thought I only had a month of Stadia Pro.
I can't remember. I feel like it was 3.
I'm pretty sure it's just a month because like my charge date is December.
Okay, I have to remember to cancel that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to. Honestly, that is why I said it's disappointing how well this works.
Yeah,
because we've talked about it before. I don't have any faith in Google keeping this service going. I will not spend actual money on games through this.
No,
like
not at all.
I'm not dropping $60 to $70 on a new game for 5 months from now. Google to be like, yeah, this service just isn't working. Like, we're just turning all the servers off.
I'm right there with you. I don't. The way Google kills things, like, I'm just, nope, I'm not even gonna, I did this so that I could get the new Chromecast and hope that maybe there's a way to set up my Stadia controller to play games on my PC. I'd be happy. I'll be happy with that.
And you can do it with your Xbox controller.
I can, but no, I have a Stadia controller. Let's see if I can do that.
I don't think you can. I think the Stadia controller, it works on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I don't think you can plug it into things. But who knows? I mean, it's worth checking.
Yeah.
I just know that, your Xbox controller just natively works.
I think I might... I have updated my Xbox One and the controller, a year ago, but I haven't tried using it on my PC since then, so I don't really know.
Yeah, if your PC has Bluetooth, or you buy, a Bluetooth dongle, it'll just natively recognize it, or I'm pretty sure the Xbox One you can actually just plug in, too.
Yeah, as long as I can plug and play, I'm fine.
It's not like the 360 where you had to get the fucking, adapter thing to make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, Stadia is one of those things where if you just don't have the money or the space or whatever to do, a console, it's probably actually an okay thing to do.
Yeah.
But, I would just be super wary of actually spending, legitimate money on it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, hopefully you get a chance to just plug it in and try it out, because I'm curious to see what you think of it before the Stadia Pro trial runs out, at least.
Yeah, I plan on. I think I was actually supposed to do that yesterday, but I never got in touch with the people I was going to be playing games with, so we didn't.
Man, way to suck.
Were you going to all be playing on the Stadias?
Yeah, there's a game that's on the Stadia Pro right now.
Risk of Rain.
I guess so.
It's a 4-player roguelike.
Yeah.
That's one of the 3 games I tried. It's a roguelike, so I think you enjoyed those games.
Yeah. It was going to be Risk of Rain, and we all got Stadia Pros because we all have the Google subscription. So it's hey, let's all play that on Stadia. And I was like, sure, I'm free tomorrow. And then we never got together to do it. So maybe this weekend.
I mean, honestly, if you want to just unplug something and plug the Chromecast in, I'd also say give that Immortals Phoenix Rising game a shot.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff starts up basically instantly. It's not like there's an install or anything for them. And Sniper Elite is also super cool if you've never played one.
Yeah.
Just go into the settings and turn up all of the slow motion stuff, because it's really cool to shoot somebody and then get to watch the bullet travel through them.
Yeah, because that's what I want to see, because, this is all I'm going to do, is shoot people in the crotch and just watch their testes.
Oh no, and that actually happens. I did it a few times. You actually get extra points. It actually shows up on the screen, testicle shot, and you get, points for it.
When you're playing a game that does that, you shoot them nowhere else.
I shot a few people in, the eye and stuff like that to see if, their eyes exploded or whatnot.
Yeah, I guess.
But, that, it is actually a fun game to sort of just mess around with.
Yeah.
So Drew, you, gave Monster Hunter World a shot.
I did. I played the first few missions, 2-3 hours or so of it. I don't fucking get the appeal in that game at all. It ran nice on a PS5.
Yeah, I haven't played it on the PS5 yet. Shocking. What weapons did you use?
I used the sword and shield.
And again, there's 14 weapons.
Cool. Again, I used 12 of them in the beta when it came out. None of them felt good.
Okay. I will be 100% honest. I did not expect your viewpoint to change on this. I was more so expected of Cobb to give it a try, and he did come out and say that he understands the appeal. I personally wasn't expecting your viewpoint on this to change. I'm glad you tried it, and I appreciate you having had tried it though.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Nothing about that game seems good.
That's a bold statement to say that nothing about it seems good, but that's absolutely your opinion.
It's incredibly rote story. The art design's not inspired. It ran fine, but that's not a thing that should be unexpected in a video game. The janky ass half voice acting.
What do you mean? What do you mean by half voice acting?
That there will be scenes where it starts with one sentence of voiced words that don't even actually match the subtitles on the screen, and then there's like 10 more lines of dialogue with voice acting that you have to just read through.
Cobb, you played this more recently than I did. I don't remember that ever happening.
So, I mean, I'm sure it did happen. Games do that all the time. It doesn't bother me. The Yakuza does that, like, in every conversation. Like, some conversations are fully voiced, some conversations, only a couple words are voiced, and sometimes those words are actually only voiced in Japanese. And then, like, the text is what the actual conversation is. Like, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, and like, RPGs do that a lot, too, where it's like, You'll go talk to a person and it'll pop up with their dialogue, but what they vocally say is one thing, but their dialogue happens to be other stuff. Like, it was if I did recognize this, it was a non-issue to the point that I completely forgot it even. And like, the only time I remember there not being voice acting when it comes to talking to people is like outside of cutscenes and when you're going to create armor and stuff. Where it's like you press X, they have like a little noise that they make or whatever, and they say what they say, and then you make your armor. So that's not something I've ever noticed.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever, but there's indie games that have 500,000 words of dialogue that's all voice acted. Like,
but like,
come on,
it's not necessary. Like,
then don't do any voice acting.
Drew, I think you just don't play enough games with voice acting to know that this is super, super common.
Is it?
It is. Like I said, like, I see it in games all the time.
Yeah. Even playing, like, Avengers, there will be, I play with subtitles on everything. They will say one thing, but the subtitles say something else. Or they won't fully transpose what the subtitles are saying. It's like I see it frequently, like I said, especially in RPGs, where, like, they say...
I don't know, FF7 Remake didn't have this.
Like, that's one RPG you've played out of how many that have come out in the last, say, 5 years?
Alright, fine.
That's what I mean, like, I just don't think you play enough games that have voice acting like this to have, like, noticed it. Because, like, you play a lot of, like, roguelikes and sports and shooters that don't like Battle Royale shooters, like your Apexes and your Overwatches, that, like, they don't have, like, dialogue in the way that these narratively driven games do.
Okay, sure. Doom did. Like, Wolfenstein does. I've played plenty of games that have full voice acted scripts. Like...
So, I'm not saying that that all games don't have full scripts. I'm saying this is way more common than you think.
I don't know that it's way more common. I guess it's more common, but still the minority of games. Like, I don't know.
I waste money on a lot of games. I see stuff like this a lot.
I don't know. Again, that's like one of the least of my complaints, but just I don't know.
Yeah, that did not bother me at all in that game. It was everything else that I thought was not fun. But, like, I understand why people enjoy that loop of gameplay. Like, I understand why that's a gameplay loop that people want to play. The same way why, like, I understand why people like playing, like, the Souls games. Like, neither of them are for me. I don't, like...
Yeah.
I would pick the Souls games over the Monster Hunter. Like, I think the Souls games play better. But, like, I'm not going to be playing either of them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also finished, Link to the Past.
Yeah. That game's really fucking good.
How long has it been since you played that? Like, did you ever own it on, like the GBA or anything like that?
Yes, I did get the GBA remake, now that you mention it, but that is probably the last time I played it.
So probably at least 15 years then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Least.
So it's been a while. Did you
and probably longer since I looked up one thing.
Did you do any rewinds or anything like that? Or any saves coming?
No.
Good for you.
Well, I mean, you don't really need to save scum in that game. Like, I wasn't concerned about beating that game with no deaths, you know?
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, like, saves coming in the sense of, like, saving outside of, like, the boss door. And...
That's not, well, okay, yeah, I could have done that.
Because you can do the save states.
I really only did save states when I was done playing for the day.
Yeah, same here. Because after we talked about it a bunch, I started playing. I think I just finished the Ice Palace.
Okay.
Yeah, I just finished the Ice Palace.
Yeah, the only thing I wound up looking up was how to find the blue cane, just so I had all of the items, even though I didn't need it by that point.
Yeah. I looked up something. Fuck, what did I look up? I think it was something for the Forest Temple. Because I could not fucking for the life of me remember how to do that. Just because that's the weird one where you have to do all of the, like, in and out and, like, dropping through different holes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
No, go ahead.
I was to say, otherwise, it, like, I remembered enough of it, and then, like, because we had just talked about the Ice Palace, I got to that puzzle that you were thinking, thought you needed the cane for. And after I finished it, I actually went and looked at the guide for that section. And I looked up 3 different guides for that section. One of them actually did say, it's like, if you're playing, like, the Game Boy Advance version, I think, of this, which I think that the guy was probably older, and you got the cane already from the next dungeon, you can just use that here, and it makes it way quicker.
Maybe that's why I had the memory of thinking I needed the cane there from playing it on the GBA, but I just had totally missed that. Because I had seen the one room where you had to push the block down, but it had the switch blocks up blocking them, and I thought nothing of it at the time, and totally didn't realize that was how you would have solved that puzzle when I got to that puzzle later. And I'm like, oh shit, how the fuck am I supposed to put a thing on this switch? Oh shit, there's an item that lets you make blocks to put on them. I guess I missed that item, and turned out I totally...
Yeah, instead you just... Because I had to do the same thing, though. Like, I got to that section, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, oh, this is the thing where I'm going to have to go back to basically the beginning of this fucking dungeon and do all of this bullshit over again.
Yep.
And that's just a shitty dungeon because the floor is slippery, so, like, movement isn't great.
Yeah. So there's some combat things in there that are annoying.
Yeah, I think...
because of the slippery...
Yeah, like with the, there's that one room where there are spikes, there are the penguins, and there are fireballs all kind of coming at you at once. And it's like a long room, and you're just like, what the fuck, people? Come on. Give me a break.
Yeah.
It's a good game, though. It's a good game.
Yeah. I was amazed for it being so long how much of that game I just remembered.
Yeah. Yeah, like there are little things that, like, as I'm playing, like, I'm going and I never really knew where all the heart pieces were. So, like, I'm definitely missing a bunch of those.
Yeah, I'm missing at least, at minimum, 1, at maximum 4, because I finished the game with 1 less heart than max.
Yeah, but, like, every time I get, like, a new item, and I finish that dungeon, like, I then go around and I'm like, alright, what can I get with this item? And, like, go, like, I got the tempered sword, like, as soon as I had the hammer. Or no, not the hammer, the fucking...
Titan mitts?
Yeah, that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I could lift up those blocks, I did that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I totally forgot how you get the last bottle until, like, I did it.
Yeah. You also... Do you need the Titan... Yeah, you need the Titan mitts to get to that, too, don't you?
Yeah, because it's in the area... Actually...
No,
I think you have to return... I don't think the bag is there until you return the apprentice or whatever he was, partner. Because the bag that follows you is in the burnt out house where the blacksmith would be in the light world.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk to the bag basically, and it follows you.
Yeah.
And then you take it to the one dude down in the desert, which that took me a while to remember. Like the bag's following me. I'm like, there's somebody in the light world that can, like, deal with this, and I went all over the fucking place.
Yeah, I remembered that dude was for something, but couldn't remember what it was until getting the chest.
Yeah, like, I talked to, like, 4 people in the village that I thought might do it. I went over to, the sage dude over by the first palace, however you say his name, his name starts with the S.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, oh wait, there's somebody down in the desert. I have to go find him. Maybe he's it. Rich, have you ever played that game before? I forget if we talked about that last week. Link to the Past?
If at all, barely. Like, but most likely no, not really. Like, I maybe the beginning of it a handful of times, but I've never actually played through it. Yeah, I mean, I've never actually owned it until I owned it on the Switch SNES. So
right, because you guys didn't have a Super Nintendo, right? You were like a Sega house.
We had an NES and then a Genesis and then got a 64 and a PlayStation. Well, a PlayStation and the 60. So yeah, we skipped over SNES and I guess the Sega Master System was after the Genesis.
No, the Master System was.
Okay, so then whatever was after the Genesis, I guess.
Which, honestly, the Master System was not very prominent in the US.
And the Genesis, or whatever was after the Genesis, would have been out during the same time as the PlayStation, I think, right?
Yeah, it was the Saturn.
Yeah, so, our, I guess, 32-bit console was the Genesis.
No, that was your 16-bit console.
16.
32 was PlayStation, and Saturn.
8-bit was NES, 16-bit was Genesis. So, yeah, I never really played it, and, even the number of times that it was on, DS and whatnot, I never bought it, because, not saying I had no interest, but I didn't really have that much of an interest. I would much rather play new games than go back to some old games, unless they're, certain... I'll go back and play any Sonic game, or any older, 3D Mario game, but I won't...
Motherfucker, you just played Zelda 2.
That was...
You played the worst Legend of Zelda game.
I did that because I wanted to see how bad it was. I did that on purpose, and that was also before the SNES was out. And
didn't you, just play that, 3 months ago?
I'm pretty sure... Whenever I played it, it was before the SNES was available.
We played that a while ago.
Was it a quarantine game? I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't. We were still actually recording at your house, so it was at least a year plus ago. Yeah. I remember being in your living room while you were trying to do stuff.
No, you're right.
It was a while ago, and I don't think there was anything out at the time that I was really interested in, and it was just killing time until the next thing came out. And I was just people hate this game, and I remember trying it and never getting beyond the first area, so I want to play it. And I did, and I got to the end, but never actually got to the final area or fought the boss, because fuck that game. It's dumb.
Sounds about right.
You should play Link to the Past, though. It's really damn good.
I'm pretty sure I have purchased Link to the Past more than any other game.
I will eventually, but I did just get 19 games on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, but you need that bedtime game where you're laying in bed with the Switch.
That would be, if anything, it would be Animal Crossing. I wouldn't be playing a quote action-packed game like Legend of Zelda, or something that keeps drawing me in to play it. I need something that I can put down,
No, that's why Link to the Past is perfect. You do a dungeon.
You play a dungeon. Yeah, play a dungeon, save.
That's not how my brain works. My brain is keep going until I drop, and I won't be able to do it.
Well, stop being broken. So DC, the comic publisher, has cut more of their senior staff. So back in August, they had that giant slew of layoffs, across the board. WB in general laid off a lot of people.
Yeah.
But so DC just announced their new editor-in-chief, Marie Javins, and then followed it up a few days later by laying off a good chunk of their senior staff. Looks like only some of the editorial staff, from the looks of it, got let go, but a lot of people in different marketing and publishing roles, higher up, are gone, including the former co-editor-in-chief, Michelle Wells, who was working alongside Marie Javins. She was also let go. Some of the people, the first 3 people on the list, have over 65 years of experience between them with DC Comics.
Damn.
Yeah, so Adam Phillips, their director of marketing services, was with them for 26 years. And that's a long time to be with someplace to then get laid off.
Sure is.
And then to go along with this, I honestly don't remember who the person was that kind of brought this stuff up, but somebody kind of inside the comic industry that has, I guess, connections with DC. They predicted a bunch of stuff that the publisher would be doing earlier this year, including the layoffs back in August. And what they're saying now is they think that DC, as we know it, is basically going to cease to exist. AT&T, which is their parent company, because AT&T owns Warner Brothers, if I remember, and then Warner Brothers owns DC.
Yeah.
Is basically going to trim them back to a bare bones line, where they're going to do less than 12 books per month, or right around 12 books a month. And it's only going to be the big sellers. So your Batman, your Superman, your Wonder Woman, your Justice League, you're not going to see a lot of like the like other quote unquote smaller characters on the shelves in their own books. So he goes on to say things that like the Flash and Green Lantern and things like that are more likely to be like backup stories inside of like a Batman book or Superman book rather than its own book on the shelves. And that they're only going to do these books with like their biggest names. So whereas like DC has a decent record, I'd say, of like bringing in like new names to work on stuff. If this actually happens, they won't anymore. Like you'll have like your Brian Bendis, you'll have your Scott Snyder, but you're not going to have, you know, like new up and comer who has like a really popular like indie book getting a shot. Same thing with like artists, like your John Romita Jr. will keep drawing for them. Your Greg Capullo will keep drawing for them, but you know they're not going to necessarily be doing a portfolio review at a convention and hire somebody.
Yeah,
and frankly, that's going to be really fucking weird if it turns out to be true. And they do so early next year. They're doing this line change up called Future State, where not all of their books, but most of like their mainline books are going to kind of transition for, I think it's 2 months. So like whatever story's happening in like Batman is not going to happen for 2 months. It's going to be this Future State storyline where it jumps X amount of years into the future and basically shows like the next generation of the DC heroes. So like somebody else is Batman, somebody else is Superman, somebody else is Wonder Woman, like that sort of thing, like kind of like a new generation of them. Because this is what was supposed to happen actually this fall. This was supposed to be the Generation 5 stuff that they're just kind of transitioning into just a short-term story, because odds are they already had a bunch of this work done. Like pitches and all were done. Scripts were probably in the process of being written. Generation 5 was originally going to be like re-aging all the characters basically, so that like your golden age like legacy heroes all basically get aged out of superheroing, and like the next generation takes over for them. And it wasn't necessarily going to be like Batman retiring and like Dick Grayson or Tim Drake taking over as Batman. It would literally be like almost like a Terry McGinnis, like a Batman Beyond thing, but just not Batman Beyond because that exists someplace else.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with DC. Hopefully that stuff doesn't come true, because DC has a lot of good books that aren't Batman and Superman.
Yeah, it sucks. Going through hard times and not really selling any books. Bit of a bummer.
I think books are selling right now, though. It's just they're not selling at the same level because not all comic shops are open and available. Yeah. And also DC changed their distribution, so it's harder for some smaller shops to get their books from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But anyway, slightly better news. I watched the new Mutants.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's a real movie. Like it actually happened.
Where did it release? It actually did release in theaters. That's right.
Yeah, it released back in August in theaters, and then it actually released on demand yesterday.
Oh man!
So it's a $5 rental on Amazon.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I have a free one-night rental for Redbox. I might actually rent it and watch it.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half, so it's not like it overstays its welcome. I think the cast is actually really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Like knowing a lot of these characters from the comics, I think a lot of them are actually like a lot of the actors did a really good job with the characters. Particularly the guy that plays Sunspot, Roberto. He is like just the right kind of cocky for that character. And the girl that they cast to play Ilana, Magic, she plays like a real bitchy person really well, but also is super scary when she needs to be.
Yeah.
And that's very much that character.
Yeah. Everything seemed like they should have done good, but with production issues and so many delays, I'm not surprised that it was just like, okay.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem was that there's a pretty long chunk of that movie where like nothing really happens, and the things that do happen it's very obvious what the problem is that's going on. Like, because it's got sort of that suspense horror vibe going on.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, the quote-unquote villain of the movie, like, it's never really all that menacing.
Yeah.
And then, like, the final fight isn't really against, like, a villain, per se. The fight's really cool, but, like, it also just doesn't really make sense or fit, like, the narrative very well.
Yeah, that sucks.
It was a cool fight, though, because, like, you got to see everybody kind of, like, do their thing. Because through a lot of the movie, like, they're all basically in, like, a psychiatric hospital, but it's just, like, the 5 of them and the doctor.
Yeah.
And the doctor is also a mutant, and they're mutants. And they're basically told that her superior, is just trying to, like, help them get better so that they can be, like, integrated back into society or potentially work with them. And it's alluded to a few times that the kids think that their superior is the X-Men. Like, they think it's Charles Xavier.
Okay.
And, like, the X-Men are referenced in this. Like, this still takes place in a world where the X-Men exist and they're heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, you know, like, that's not the case anymore. The X-Men's franchises are all gone.
Yeah.
But, like, a lot of them don't show their powers, like, to the full extent, or, like, explain them. So, like, Sunspot, he doesn't want to show his powers. Like, actually, none of the other kids know what his power is until something happens, like, 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Yeah.
And, like, Maisie Williams, who's from Game of Thrones, she plays, Wolfsbane, who, her power is literally she can turn into a wolf, or she can kind of turn into, like, a hybrid, like, part wolf, part person sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, not really a werewolf, because, like, she just gets, like, the claws and the fangs and the hair, not, like, the weird, like, body proportion. So, like, that's one of those things where, like, you see a wolf a few times, but it's not really totally obvious until later on that she is turning into the wolf, unless you know what her power is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame. I think that's one of those movies where, had Marvel not bought Fox, and that movie had come out, like, around when it was supposed to in 2018, it probably would have done a little bit better, and there'd be a good chance for a sequel, especially with the way that it leaves off. But that's not going to happen now. Like, there's just...
Yeah.
The likelihood of any of those actors being those characters again are, like, slim to none. And none of them are quite well known enough to, like, the masses to really be in, like, an X-Men movie. Like, when Marvel does an X-Men movie, they have the rights to the X-Men. They're not going to fucking use Cannonball and Danny Moonstar. They're going to use Cyclops and Wolverine.
Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, like, all the X-Men that we all freaking know, because they're the flagship heroes.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. It's going to be the ones that were always in the cartoons and the other movies.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the New Mutants, like, they're actually cool characters because they were developed to be, like, the younger generation of X-Men.
Yeah.
Which also doesn't make total sense because fucking Kitty Pryde was recruited onto the actual X-Men team when she was, like, fucking 14.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, like, 2 years later, they launch a book called New Mutants that are a bunch of teenagers that aren't old enough to be X-Men. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? Kitty walks through walls. These other people have actual destructive power. Like, this one dude harnesses the power of the goddamn sun.
You know, walking through walls, I trust that person in a fight more so than anybody else because they probably shouldn't ever be able to die. Because they just keep their powers on, except for maybe at their feet. And they're just always being shot at and whatever, and things are just going straight through them.
No, I mean, Kitty has so, honestly, that power, Kitty did that once. She had to leave her powers on too long, and then she couldn't turn them off, and she had to wear a special suit so that she didn't fall through the world.
That's weird. It's crazy.
Yeah. Some alien race shot a giant bullet at the Earth, and she phased the bullet through the Earth.
Oh, wow.
And then kept it phased for, like, 2 years as it hurled through space.
Okay.
And then when she finally got back to Earth, she couldn't unphase.
Well, see, that's 2 years. I'm talking about, like, in a fight, like, D&D standards, like, 5 rounds, it's only 30 seconds. So, like, I think...
Yeah. She actually kind of fights like Nightcrawler in a weird way. Where it's like Nightcrawler, like, bamfs all over the place. She just kind of, like, goes, like, intangible and tangible as she needs to.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Kitty was better because she could go intangible, but she could also go super dense.
Yeah.
So she could, like, make herself weigh nothing, jump off of something, and then right before she hits somebody, go super dense and just crush them.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a movie that if you have an hour and a half to kill and you like superhero movies that are also kind of suspense movies, it's worth checking out. Like, at least the cast did a good job with what they had to work with.
Yeah.
And that, like, a lot of the actors are, like, people you'll recognize from other things. Like, one of the guys in it is, not Steve from Stranger Things.
Yeah, what's his name's older brother from Stranger.
Will's brother. I don't know
Will's
what his
brother,
character name is.
No.
The way I described it to Erica when I was telling her he was in it was the other older guy from Stranger Things that ends up with the girl that's not Steve.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Well, it was fine. I'll put it that way.
It was entertaining.
Yeah. Which that's all you really want from a movie. You want to be entertained.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
nothing to write home about, but it's worth the rental cost.
Yeah, especially if you have a free one-night rental from Redbox.
Yeah, exactly. So this one I actually have breaking news to go along with it. So a few days ago, it was being rumored that Wonder Woman 1984 was being eyed to potentially be released in January on HBO Max, or pushed back to the summer and released theatrically.
Okay.
So about an hour, maybe 2 hours ago, I got an alert from Wario64 that a video went up on YouTube and then was quickly taken down from Warner saying that Wonder Woman 1984 will be available on December 25th theatrically and on HBO Max at no additional cost.
Oh, wow.
And then about 20 minutes ago, I actually got an app update from HBO Max telling me the same thing.
That's pretty sweet.
So
I will watch it on Christmas Day, is what they said?
Yeah, so on Christmas Day, if you want to go to a movie theater, and
they're still
one
open.
still exists, you can go see Wonder Woman, or you can subscribe to HBO Max and watch it at home.
Yeah, I mean, HBO Max is an awesome, like, buy-in. Like,
It has a lot of good content. I will give it that.
It's how I watch all my Godzilla movies. It's gonna have Wonder Woman. It's not on the outline, but I mentioned it to you guys today. Conan O'Brien is gonna have a variety show starting sometime next year on there because he's leaving TBS. Like, there's so much good stuff. There's even, like, I was watching Key and Peele the other day. And Top Gear, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like...
Fresh Prince is on there. For some reason, I thought it was on Peacock.
Yeah.
They also have, they have a Crunchyroll license for anime.
Yeah. They don't have a lot of anime
the
on
DC
there.
stuff.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of Ghibli movies.
It's such a good streaming service. Like, I'm happy I kept with my HBO to have this because it's totally worth it.
Yeah, I don't use it as much as I would like to, but like it's one of those ones where like I'll look at it and be like, oh yeah, I should watch that show, and it's just by the time we're actually looking for shows to watch, I never think to go look at that stuff.
At this point, like, especially now that I have Disney Plus, I'm kind of considering getting rid of Netflix. I don't really use Netflix that much anymore. I use everything else more. And all the stuff that I had Netflix for is no longer on there because Marvel has their own streaming service on Disney Plus.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'd probably do the same, but like, Erica uses Netflix at night a lot, and we don't pay for it. Like, it's part of our phone subscription, and it didn't up our bill at all.
Yeah.
It was like a promo from T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Speaking of Disney Plus, though, you finally got around to watching The Mandalorian.
Yeah, so like I watched the first 6 episodes all in one day, like about a year ago, maybe less than a year ago.
It was probably in December because if you watch 6 episodes,
no, it wasn't like because it was. I think it was in like January or February, right before quarantine hit, because I went and hung out with a friend. And they were all out, but we had only got through like 5 or 6.
Okay, then yeah, it probably was like January, February.
Yeah. So like I'd watched the first handful, but I was hanging out with somebody, so we were talking at the same time as watching. So like I didn't process it all. So I just subscribed to Disney Plus, just watched all of the first season, and I'm completely caught up within 2 days. Because I was super slow at work on Friday. It's a great show. And I'm so happy that what's his name? Giancarlo Espinosa. Is that his last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Giancarlo Espinosa, right?
Yep, that's it.
Esposito. I can't remember.
I think you're right. I think it is Esposito.
Yeah. I'm so happy he's the villain, because he's such a good actor. And, like, the whole, like, twist at the end of the first season of what happened, like, was really cool. I'm excited to see what they do with Ashoka, in the upcoming episodes, because he should be running into her soon.
I mean, I'm assuming it's either going to be this week's episode or next week, because the tease at the end of the last one was the character telling you to go find her.
Yeah, so it should be within the next 2 or 3 episodes. Who knows how long. They might have it carry out and be like the season finale, like that.
Which, I don't know if you knew this. I forget if we talked about it before or not. So those 3 Mandalorians that he meets on that planet, in that last episode, the leader that was played by Katie Sackhoff, that's a character from Clone Wars also, the cartoon.
Yeah.
That she voiced in Clone Wars, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really cool. And what they do with the show is just awesome. I loved what they did with IG-88. I absolutely...
That was IG-11.
IG-11, sorry. I loved what they did with him. I was so happy he made his return near the end of the first season.
You should look up all the cameos, too, because there have been so many cameos that you'll never catch.
My favorite was the final, or the last episode 8. It was Jason Sudeikis and some other guy, and they were the 2 stormtroopers on the speeders with Baby Yoda.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I loved it. It was great. But yeah, this show's, it's good. I'm not mad that I waited this long to watch it, because it's short, so, like, if I had watched it when it all first started airing, I wouldn't really have had anything to watch in a way. I don't really know. But, like, I'm not mad I waited to watch it, because even though knowing some of the stuff that was going to happen in some of the characters, it was still an enjoyable watch. And even, like, for instance, knowing that Boba Fett's armor was in episode 1 of this season, as well as, like, the quick little I think it was the dumbest cameo ever at the end of the episode, I still, like, saw it and was like, okay, like, it still was relatively impactful. I just...
So we don't know if he's going to show back up, though.
No, we don't. Not yet. Like, usually they, at least with the first season, like, they wouldn't have introduced some sort of character unless they planned on doing more with that character, it seemed. That, like, it would make sense for them to, like, have him in more of it. But for now, that little, like, what is that, the name of the Native American who would see, like, a trash heap turn around and cry? Like, that's how his cameo was. And I was just like, that was lame. Like, they should have done a little bit more with that.
But see, like, I liked it because, so Drew, I think we talked about this a week that you weren't on. It's Boba Fett. And it's the actor that played Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But he's all bald and scarred up because he fucking fell into the Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi. And this is like 9 years later, I believe. 9 to 10 years later. In that first episode, though, the Mandalorian gets Boba Fett's armor from somebody else who is not Boba Fett. So the episode just ends with him on a cliff watching Mando ride away on a speeder bike with his armor.
Yeah.
And considering he's been to Tatooine a couple of times at this point, it's not out of the question to think he might end up back there again this season and actually tangle with Boba Fett.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoy this show. I like it. When do new episodes come out? Fridays?
Fridays, yeah.
Okay, so I have a few days for the next episode.
Yep. And then we're going to wrap this week up with your Weekly Kaiju. What did you think of Ghidorah, the three-headed monster?
So, yeah, I did watch it this week. I started from the beginning because I didn't pay a lot of attention to it last week. It starts out slow and kind of dull. And it kind of, like, it was weird and silly, but kind of also a pseudo letdown. So, like, the movie starts out, like, it's unnaturally warm weather in January. Like, it's a heat wave, basically. Like, they're sweating wearing t-shirts and jeans and stuff like that in January. It's weird. And, at one point they show a variety show where these kids want to meet Mothra, so they introduce the 2, tiny women from Mothra, and they sing, and they talk about how, Batra, one of the Mothra twins, died. And so Mothra is still alive, though, and they sing to her. And then just a person from Jupiter, right? Was it Jupiter? Or Venus? It's one of those 2 planets. I can't remember. I feel it might have been Venus. Took over the body of, somebody to warn that the Earth was going to be under attack and Rodan was going to wake up, and then Godzilla was going to reawaken, and then Ghidorah was going to attack, and we all needed to worry about all this. And it was weird, and like no monsters until maybe close to 45 minutes to an hour into it. And it's only an hour and a half long. Whereas like Godzilla the original from 54, like that was always the threat of Godzilla, but he wasn't in it a lot, and it was all it had more meaning to it about like dealing with the atomic bomb. This one, it was just like building up something that like had a very lame conclusion. So what happened is Rodan wakes up, and then Godzilla wakes up, and then they just start butting heads, and then Mothra walks over and is like starts like shouting at them, and the girls are translating that Mothra is trying to get the Godzilla and Rodan to work together to fight Ghidorah, otherwise they're not going to win. And the two of them, Godzilla and Godzilla and Rodan, are both like, no, we don't like each other. Why should we protect the Earth? Humans suck, which is true.
They don't actually talk, right?
No, but it's the girls, like, they have a psychic connection to all the monsters, so they're just basically translating and saying like, oh, well...
That's so cheap.
Yeah, so, and they're like, oh, well, Ghidorah and Rodan don't think they should protect humans because humans have attacked them and done wrong to them. And then, well, Mothra's saying that Earth is our planet too, so we need to protect Earth and not just the humans. And it was, at one point, like, the reason that Rodan and Godzilla started to fight with each other, like, alongside each other, is, they said to Mothra that each other had to apologize. Like, Godzilla had to apologize to Rodan, and Rodan had to apologize to Godzilla because of the fighting that they had done prior to Mothra getting there. And Mothra, by the way, is not a moth still. It's still in the pupil form.
Because in the last movie it died, right?
Yeah, it was a pupil. Or like a pupil, like a caterpillar type thing. And it was so weird, and the battle was just, like, kind of boring, because, like, Rodan, because it's an old movie from 65, or 64, Rodan doesn't really fly much, because it's a person in a suit, so he's kind of standing there, hands sprawled, walking over, pecking at Ghidorah, while Godzilla's just, like, shaking his hands, and Mothra is shooting silk out his mouth, it was just kind of lame. Like, it was King Kong vs. Godzilla sucked. But the fighting and stuff in this one was kind of lame, that it's like, it's just a slight level above King Kong vs. Godzilla at this point. But, like, at the end of it, they didn't even defeat Ghidorah. He just flies away. He was supposed to come here and destroy Earth. But because of these three monsters banded together to work together to fight him, he doesn't die, he doesn't get injured, he doesn't, like, lose any, like, body parts. He's just like, fuck this shit, I'm out, and flies away. And that is basically the end of the movie. And I'm just like, this is weird. This is, like, the weirdest one so far. And, like,
yeah, that does seem weird.
The next one is Invasion of Astro Monster, which Ghidorah makes his return, and it's Ghidorah, Rodan, and Godzilla. No Mothra in this one, so I'm assuming Mothra is in, like a cocoon for this one, probably, because he's in the next one in Ebera. She, sorry. But, like, I was reading the synopsis for Invasion of Astro Monster, and it's, like, even weirder. And I'm so excited for it. Basically, the humans go to Planet X, and they find out that on Planet X, these, human-like creatures called X, but it's aliens, but instead of an A, it's an X. So, Xylians, they've been being attacked by, the planet killer, which turns out to be Ghidorah, and they have the technology to cure cancer. So, the humans decide, alright, we'll bring Godzilla and Rodan to this planet to fight and kill Ghidorah, and we'll get the cure for cancer. And I'm just like, I can't wait to watch this one. It's gonna be so dumb, but I can't wait.
Yeah, that does sound like it's gonna be something else.
Yeah. But, like, I'm getting into the point where, like, this is where Godzilla is no longer the antagonist and becomes more the protagonist / like, anti-hero, because he still does destruction. He's Godzilla. He's a giant monster. And I'm getting closer to Destroy All Monsters, where every monster he's ever fought up until this point is in it, and then a few others. But the next one is the 6th movie in the series, and I only have 9 more after that. I have 10 more movies.
Only 9 more movies.
I have 10 more Godzilla movies that are on. Well, actually, 9 more Godzilla movies that are on HBO Max. One of them isn't, so I have to find a way to watch it, and that's All Monsters Attack. And then I don't have any Godzilla movies to watch for free. I have to pay for them.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Because the Heisei era and the Millennium era are not on, or the Reiwa era are not on not on HBO or anything else.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but
this
one,
at least you've still got quite a ways to go.
Yeah, I mean it's 10 more weeks. Like I'll be talking about this into 2021.
That's over 2 months.
Yeah, like into 2021 I'll be talking about this, or probably February I'll be done.
Assuming you don't skip any more weeks.
Yeah. I'm planning on not to, but you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And I think that'll probably do it for this week.
Yeah, we went long.
There were consoles. New consoles exist. It's a new generation.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you all would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by going to patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, like Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, all those fun places. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All those things help a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline, or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See you.
Bye.